The Area Cup Series bounced off of curbs and made rights and lefts last week at Sonoma Raceway. For the fourth round of the season, Area Cup Series drivers head to the plains of Newton, Iowa for 170 laps. Racing on a short track, I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. And the best thing about corn country, it's got the juice. Hi everybody, I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and Eric Wineland. Finian, welcome aboard. We go racing in Iowa this time. A short track, a speedway, it's a little bit of everything racing here in the middle of the country. It's a great day for racing.
Yeah, finally getting to go to a short track, see what these guys can do at such a tight facility. We saw something similar at Rockingham. These guys are absolutely cutthroat when we headed there. Can't imagine now that the track's even shorter what we're going to see out of these guys.
Well, this is the third week in a row that we're at a new racetrack for the Area Cup Series that these guys haven't been on, although we did go back here in season one for the truck side of things, but never has the Cup Series ever been here. Really interested in seeing how this turns out, especially with the next gen car, and I've already heard that the setup on these cars not the best for drivers, so it's going to be a bit a challenging one out there, Kyle.
It certainly will be. Air temp is 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and track temp is a little bit warmer than that. When we talk about Iowa Speedway, this track is relatively new, but that doesn't mean it hasn't developed character already. Finian specifically talking about those first two corners. There's a gnarly bump at the bottom of 1 and 2 that drivers will be fighting all night long.
Yeah, and as Hunter mentioned, that these guys are already fighting tight conditions with the setup, so hitting that bump in the wrong place, well, it's going to make the car even tighter in the corner, and especially if you're in the middle of a battle side by side, that could spell disaster. I think especially you're going to be taking a look a lot out of that turn 2 camera. I think coming out of that corner, we're going to see a lot of guys that are hitting the wall.
Well, this is a racetrack sort of similar to Chicagoland, where we're already seeing it right here. You can run 3 lanes. You can run the bottom, the middle, and the top, although I think for the most part, we're going to see some drivers run the bottom to start things out, but I suppose as the night goes on, we start to see some more running towards the outside wall.
Drivers practicing right now, getting set for 170 laps around here, which should be a pretty quick race as far as the races so far have gone this season, Finian, and some drivers to keep our eyes on, certainly the ones towards the top of the order. Weishart, Scioli, Hartz, DeLeo, and Chris Rabel in the top 5 so far, but there are plenty of drivers that have been factors this season that are not yet towards the front in this particular session, including the number 84. Cosman runs 35th right now. We know he will be a force to be reckoned with tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm just really surprised to see him that far down the order. Again, I mean, practice times aren't really everything. It could just be he's not focusing on setting a hot lap in, more just focusing on getting some decent long-run pace. So we'll have to see if Cosman has anything in the 84 car, but he definitely doesn't want to be running all the way down in 35th.
Well, looking down, also, I believe Garrett Grant's 33rd on the racetrack. Garrett Grant really good at these short track style type of races. Got to go back to Nashville from season 2. Kind of races like a short track in a way with the low banked corners and the number 5. There he is right there, 33rd on the screen. So I would expect the 5 to pick up the pace a little bit for qualifying, but like I said, got 170 laps here. So it could be a blessing in disguise to start in the back and slowly work your way through the field and try to get a feel for the car.
Yeah, again, this is one of those places that you're fighting a lot of bumps and things, and despite the new track surface, watch the 5 right here mid-corner, right there. Bam, you see that front end slam the ground. It is extremely upsetting on the bottom of the racetrack. It's not such a big deal up high. Finian, Hunter alluded to this earlier, but you can run several different lanes in this racetrack, especially in 3 and 4. You can use that momentum up high. The challenge at turn 4 is that outside wall that'll creep up on you very quickly.
Yeah, I was saying turn 2 also it was a big issue. Turn 4 can be as well. You see a lot of guys, and typically a lot of guys love to get that run off of turn 4. You see already these guys testing the waters up near that wall. You have to be very careful though once the tires start to wear out, and again, as we mentioned, it's probably going to wear out pretty quickly for these guys with this setup, that you're going to have to watch your car and be careful when you throttle up because you can find that wall very quickly.
Riding in car with Jake Nichols here. He's only 11th quickest, guys. I think we're on the brink of a nuclear war or something because he's not in the top 10. This is the first time I've seen Jake Nichols not inside the top 10. This is truly a bizarre day. There must be a full moon out tonight, but this just proves that even the best of the best are struggling to get some pretty good. Now, 11th is still good, but to Jake Nichols' standards, from what we've seen, this is unexpected, although this is just practice, but kind of shocking to not see the 91 car at the top of the board.
Well, 3 top 10s so far this season, and 2 of those finishes were race wins, including last week at Sonoma, California on the road course, the one and only of the season. But now we head back to a track that sort of is considered by my standards as a short track, much like we talked about Rockingham a couple of weeks ago in the Lodge Box and Truck Series. This is one of those tracks that, while the track definition puts it one way, it kind of drives like the other. Whereas, I think this place is technically a short track. I think it drives in a lot of ways like a speedway, and Rockingham, technically a speedway, drives a lot like a short track, Vinny, and so there's certainly some unique characteristics of this, very similar, in fact, to Richmond, but I feel that it drives more like a speedway than Richmond does, despite them being almost identical.
Yeah,
wow.
Sorry, I had to clear my throat there for a little bit. Yeah, no, I think absolutely, it's similar in the shape, and then also really you got to consider just the banking of these corners is that it's, not as much banking as we typically see at the intermediates, just a little bit more on the flat side. So it's going to give that's what really gives it so much of that short track characteristics. Not a whole lot of banking to work with, and as these guys go flying around here. But it's going to be interesting to see those different lanes and how these guys are going to approach it, if they're going to be using those lanes up, or are we going to see most of these guys stick to the bottom after a few laps and maybe slowly migrate to the top as the run goes on.
Solid position here for Matt Bell, 7th quickest in practice so far, less than 4 minutes to go. Eric Wiley joins us in the booth. Eric, what you got?
Hey guys, just giving you a little preview for tonight. So as we watch Matt Bell run, obviously you just documented different lines throughout the racetrack. The racetrack's going to take a lot of rubber here in Iowa, so expect that groove to widen out. A lot of guys, sounds like they're preferring the bottom as I scroll through the scanner, but quite a way to run this racetrack. Nonetheless, tire conservation is going to be the big thing tonight for these guys. It looks like it's pretty easy to lose your tires pretty quick. I mean, some 10-lap averages are completely blasting off the charts compared to 15 and 20-lap averages. So expect tire conservation big time tonight. So maybe a guy like Jake Nichols or David Weishart doesn't necessarily run up front right off the get-go. They'll drive their way forward later in the race.
Yeah, qualifying will be a important factor here tonight. Passing at the place like this isn't the hardest place on the calendar, but you might have to use your bumper a little bit later in the race. Practice just under 3 minutes remaining here before we get into qualifying. You'll have 2 laps to lay down your best time. And looking down the list at other drivers we haven't mentioned, how about Bronson Stafford here, Finian? Currently runs in 14th. He heads back out on the racetrack in the SimRap Market Machine. We'll talk about them a little later. But we saw Bronson kind of in the mix at Daytona and a couple other places, but hasn't really been a standout start to the season for him by any stretch.
No, it's been a very poor start, all things considered. He's 32nd in the points, and his highest finish is 27th at Chicagoland. So he definitely is going to be hoping for some more here. I mean, he's showing some decent pace, 14th on the timesheet, so has some pace in the 61 car. It's a matter of if he can finally get a solid finishing position. I'm sure he's going to be hoping for at least a top 15, maybe even a top 10 if the opportunity presents itself.
And I was just about to say, we have an off week next week for area. There is no racing next week. I don't know if that's for the Halloween festivities that'll be going on in this upcoming week or not, but some of these guys might be racing with a little more sense of urgency because they know that there's not going to be a race next week and they want to get the most out of their car tonight.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know we had an off week next week. And I guess that is good timing because I'm getting a cat this Friday, so that's going to work out well. I get to share the evenings with the new kitten next week. That's very exciting stuff.
Did you actually decide on a name?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Apollo for my orange.
Okay.
Yeah, my orange kitty, both because of the sun god Apollo and also because of the space connotation for the Apollo missions. So I might get a second one, name it Apollo 2. That's a joke. That's not going to happen. Anyway, sorry, off topic. Practice almost complete here from Iowa Speedway. David Weishart still at the top of the board. Skyoli Hartz DeLeo. The drivers that are typically found towards the front are kind of showing their face again here. Talk about changing conditions here, Finney. We talked about the racetrack. The temperature of the racetrack is a little bit warmer than the ambient air temp, so we could see that fall. But this is one of those places that's a little bit multi-groove at times. Bottom feeding right now, but some drivers, see Greg Mitchell there trying a pretty different line. We might see the rubber kind of maneuver these cars around the racetrack over the course of the race.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested in seeing and how that's going to affect the racing lines. We're going to see guys search for more grip. You can see, I think it's 18 going to almost take out the camera as he's up against the wall in turns 3 and 4. We can already see guys starting to experiment a little bit more than what we've seen. Most of the guys we've seen typically running bottom, middle lane, but some guys up there running the top. I do think the top is definitely going to be a very good lane for getting passing or even defending, so that's probably going to be a good lane to start with, but we really have to see when the race starts where these guys are going to be running.
Hey, Kyle Larson did win yesterday at Homestead, Miami, and you saw how close he was to the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of drivers try to replicate the Larson line here at Iowa. And as qualifying is about to get underway, over in the Twitch chat, we have our poll question for the night. How many cautions will be in tonight's race? The over-under number is 7.5, and race fans, you can bet in the Twitch chat with exclamation point bet, and then the word over or under, and you can wager as little as 10 channel points up to 1,000 channel points. And it's interesting to note, in the short track races that we had last season, and short track, less than a mile in length, we averaged 17 cautions for 73 laps.
Oof.
So if that doesn't tell you to hit the over, I don't know what will.
All right, well, before we get into qualifying, here's a quick look at your playoff picture after race 3 of 17. Jake Nichols, Travis Beckner already locked. Nichols with his 2 wins, Beckner with his season-opening Area 500 win. Scioli and Hart's Tom DeLeo. Conveniently, they were the drivers towards the top here in practice. There's a look at the rest of your top 20 in the points. And Douglas Newbegin sitting just on the outside looking in, but still a long, long way to go. As Hunter mentioned it as well, fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You can earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. Back to the racetrack now. Qualifying underway here, Finian, and many cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, everyone getting out there, running their laps. Chris Rabel going to be one of the first guys to get out there and start his flying laps as he comes across the line. Sorry, will complete his first lap, second on the board, just behind James Scioli, currently sitting in first.
Interesting to note for Scioli, he had the highest average finish on short tracks last season without a win. And I say without a win because Jake Nichols won every short track race that we had last year. He won at Phoenix, Dover, and Martinsville. So James Scioli is one to look out for here on the short tracks, as is the 22 of Dom DeLeo, always fast for Physicus Motorsports per usual. We'll see what that 22 car can do in qualifying.
DeLeo rolls through turns 3 and 4, higher up the road here on this first lap. Exits turn 4. We'll see what DeLeo can do on this first time around. A 23.726. To be good enough only for about 8th spot. We'll see if the second lap is faster for the 22. I'm not sure that it was. It wasn't for Scioli. He ran his fastest on his opening lap. Rafe Slate goes up to 4th quick. Seth Noel, Greg Mitchell, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, as DeLeo comes across the line, we'll see where he's going to end up in 10th at the moment. Can he improve in the 22? And looks like he will up into 8th. And also looking at Ryan Hart on the track in the number 3. Noticed on the first lap he went to the high lane, took the high lane around, and then he's going to be flying on his second lap as he Brandon 6 sliding out of turns 1 and 2 as he's on top of the board.
Yeah, I was just about to say, have people tried running the top on their first lap so they can get the run off the corner and then propel them using the bomb, kind of like what we see at the super speedways?
Well, Hartz did it, and he put himself in 6th.
Really impressed with Brandon 6's lap. That was unholy how fast it was. I mean, 300's faster when it's this close is a lot.
Yeah.
And he just did it on his first lap, made everyone look pretty slow, quite frankly, as opposed to the rest of the group there. As now we watch Bronson Stafford in 3.
All the 66 to the race hauler for inspection.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was trying to figure out, I mean, maybe this isn't very good of me, but I was trying to figure out, I was like, what did he do? Did he do some iRacing wall riding hack or something? Because not to take away from that accomplishment, but that was just a very good lap in a very short attempt. Stafford again, second lap finish.
Yeah, we saw him. We saw it again. We saw decent pace out of him in practice. Can he match that, though, in qualifying? He's going to get close to the wall. Into the wall he goes. And that's going to end his qualifying attempt. So he's going to be starting near the back, 26th. And probably that's time. It's probably not going to hold for too much longer as more guys are out there. Gabriel Ellison, the 27, just jumped up into 20th. If you look at the number 09, Bryce Senezak.
Senesac, the driver from David Weishart Racing, looking to put up his first lap on the board. And teammate Scioli in 2nd and Weishart already in 4th, so kind of something to base your lap times off of. 15th quickest on the first lap. We'll see if he can slot himself in the middle of his 2 teammates or dethrone both of them.
Down the back straightaway, speeds climbing over 152. These new next-gen cars certainly make pretty good speed here with that independent rear suspension, that new addition to NASCAR stock car for 2022. Across the line for Senesac, a slight pickup on his second lap that will put him up to 11th place. And now Area 500 winner Travis Beckner beginning his roll-off and his warm-up lap.
Yeah, we'll see where he ends up. Again, he's one of those guys that he doesn't need to really worry about his place. He's already got himself locked in into the playoffs, so doesn't have to worry about much the rest of the season, but I'm sure he's going to try to get as many wins as he can so he can get a good qualifying effort here as he gets up to speed.
Well, he smacked the wall both times coming out of turn 2 and turn 4, so he's one that's going to try and push the limit here. See if he...
Whoa, pushed it too far.
Yep.
Did he lock it down and save it? No.
Oh, that's an awkward hit.
Yeah, he kind of hooked the end of the concrete there, and he has only used one lap attempt, so he will get one more, but he won't get a full warm-up. Go ahead, Finian.
And Jake Nichols is out on the track at the moment. He's about to complete his first time lap as he comes sliding off of turn 4, just a little bit across the line from the 91.
Third.
Not too surprising.
That's a big pickup there from practice. He, like we mentioned, he wasn't inside the top 10 in practice, and we're like, what's going on with the 91? This is not normal for Jake Nichols, but it seems like he's gotten everything figured out.
It's actually funny they mentioned. I actually wanted to look at his stats. I was looking back, and he has not finished outside the top 10 in the last 16 races, excluding super speedways. So you were onto something with that.
This is the kind of thing that happened to the tail end of last year too. Oh, Jake Nichols is 5th. What is going on? He's having a horrible night, running 5th or 6th. Oh man, that's how you know you're having a good season. Here's Beckner on his only attempt and goes second quick.
Wow,
that was impressive.
That's making the most of it. And we saw he nearly spun. Well, he did spin coming out of 2, but earlier on he smacked the wall in turn 2 and smacked the wall in turn 4. I think he's got this. Track figured out now with the second fastest lap.
I'll say he goes to the top of or near the top of the board, only about 15 thousandths of a second off of the top. Await the green flag here. We have essentially completed qualifying. There's only one car remaining on the racetrack, and it has already run all the laps. Dwight Beverly, Jeff Ryan, and Alex Weaver did not elect to make qualifying efforts. And Finian, I wonder if that has to do with the strategy. Because, well, Alex Weaver, he looks like he had some incidents. Jeff Ryan and Beverly, though, that was elective not to run lap.
Yeah, not sure what the call is there. I guess maybe they feel like they're just going to wait. Maybe they sense there's going to be a lot of chaos in this race. Maybe they're just going to pick up the scraps. I wouldn't really place my bets on it. This group of guys has been really solid, and I'm not saying that because they pay us technically to say good things about them, but this group of drivers has been really professional. One of the best groups we've seen on Sim TV in a long time. They really, like, very rarely we do have a caution-filled race, and even then it's kind of understandable. We haven't seen massive wrecks other than the super speedways, so I wouldn't place bets on there being a lot of cautions, but you never know, I guess.
And looking at it, the Keeping It Real Esports drivers of Brandon 6 and Chris Rabel, especially Chris Rabel, he's been really solid to start out this season. And then Brandon 6, out of nowhere, he's faster than everyone by 2-3 tenths for the pole here at Iowa. And Eric got an update for us real quick before we get to our starting line.
Hey guys, just to give you a sense of what the race is going to be like here. So these drivers can make it about 85 to 90 laps on fuel tonight. But don't expect that out of any of these guys. The tire fall off here at Iowa, as we've already well documented, happens big time here. Cars going to be running, mid to low 20 or mid to high 23s as you see here in qualifying, but just after 15 laps, they're already almost a second off that pace. So expect a lot of tire fall off and a strategy to play out based on tires, not on fuel tonight, guys.
I like that a lot because if we go green, Finian, this opens up the opportunity for undercuts and overcuts, something that we talked about a few weeks back, but never really played out because the tire wear wasn't significant enough. At tracks where the tires get eaten by the road, you have a lot more flexibility with the strategies that you play over the pit wall here in those long green flag runs.
Yeah, I also really like it when we have these races where the tire wear is so significant that these guys are going to come down just for tires, not even really necessarily for the fuel, because you may see some guys try to stretch their tire life past their limit, and may see some guys into flat spotting. Again, I don't know if they'll be able to even run anywhere near that point of the tires going down, but it wouldn't be too surprising considering the complaints we heard from these guys to see someone have a flat tire and go flying into the wall.
And the last time we had a caution fest field race, that was back at Martinsville towards the end of season 2. And Well, let's remind ourselves again. This is a short track. It's less than a mile. It doesn't feel like a short track. Races like a super speedway, but with the setup that these cars have, and with the way these guys are trying to test the limits coming off of turn 2 and turn 4, wouldn't surprise me if we get a decent bit of cautions in tonight's race.
That's safe to expect at a place like this, but it is a good day for racing out here in Newton, Iowa. And for those that have traveled out west before, usually out of the Chicago area, you go a couple hours west, and you can actually spot this place with a similar sight line than you can in the sim. I'm not sure if we have a camera that is able to see this, but there is a big old McDonald's and gas station sign that's real high in the air, way off in the distance outside of turn number 4. And when you're driving on the highway and you're near the racetrack, spot that sign, and you can look to your left traveling westbound and see the speedway. I did it a couple times this summer on my way out to racetracks out west for Grid Life. So kind of right off the interstate, easy to spot. As we get set for our grid here in just a couple of minutes, we'll take this opportunity to thank Roasted Gems Coffee, our starting grid sponsor for the season. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. And we'll bring you your Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup here in just a moment. Get set for the start. Finney and you and I will roll on through this as we typically do. It is a field of 40, 20 rows of cars. Chevrolets, Toyotas, and Fords. The bow ties, the blue ovals, and those Toyota symbols all the way through. Time to roll down to the start stand here and get rolling through our starting lineup. On row number 1, kicking things off up front on pole, Brandon 6 in the number 66. He starts alongside Travis Beckner in the 28, your Area 500 winner on the outside of row 1.
And you go back into row number 2, very stacked second row. James Scully going to be starting in 3rd. Next to him, Jake Nichols in the 91 in 4th place.
Starting in 5th, Chris Rabel in the number 29. David Weishart starts 6th in the number 33.
Back in 7th, Ray Slate in the number 8 machine. Next to him, Ryan Hart's in the number 3.
9th place is Jacob Bell in the number 77. Seth Noel starts 10th on the outside of row 5, the number 1 car.
Back in row 11, Greg Mitchell going to be lined up on the inside in 11th. And the 24 next to him, Michael Curran in 12th.
Starting 13th is Dom DeLeo in the number 22 Ford Mustang. Bryce Senesac rolls off 14th in that green and black Camaro in the 09.
Back in behind them, Matthew Bell going to be in the 9 in 15. Next to him, Jordan D. Martin in 16th in the 11.
17th place is Brandon Key in the number 95. Tyler Nichols starts 18th in the number 41.
Back in 19, Michael Sturgill going to be rolling off in the 17 car in 19. Next to him, Ricky Springer in the 18 car in 20th.
Ed Robertson starts 21st in the number 64. Garrett Grant starts 22nd in the number 5.
Row number 12, Douglas Newbegin going to be lined up in 23rd in the 71. Jonathan Cogswell in the 26th in 24th.
25th place is Ryan Swan in the number 19. Ryan Chambliss starts 26th in the number 25 car.
Dante Bauer going to be lined up in 27th. The next to him, Shane Abbey in the 12 car in 28th.
29th place is Gabriel Ellison in the number 27. Danny Ware rolls off 30th in the 00.
31st, JT Poole in the 32. And next to him, Alan Malachino in the 70 car.
And starting behind them is Cosman Yonoshiu. Wow, we're going to try that again. Yonoshiu in the number 84. And Dwayne Culberson in the number 81 starts 34th.
Back in 35th, Andrew Player in the 13 car. Brandon Zimmerman in the 20 car in 36.
37th place, Bronson Stafford, the number 61. Alex Weaver starts 38th in the number 4.
Back in rounding out your final 2 rows, Jeff Ryan in 37th and Dwight Beverly going to be rounding out your field of 40 cars here tonight.
All right, quick look at our race analysis here. 170 laps, about 150 miles, 40 drivers at an altitude of under 1,000 feet, pretty much sea level. It is not exactly all that flat here in Iowa as you think it would be. Flowing hills around Newton alongside the interstate, but time to go racing tonight. This race, if we go green from start to finish, is 1 hour and 6 minutes. It is time to go racing in round number 4 of the 2022 Area Cup Series. Brandon 6, Travis Beckner are your front row starters, and we are about to go racing. Green flag flies, and we're racing in Iowa. Lap 1 is complete, and Beckner noses ahead, but the 66 still fights him on the bottom into turn 1.
Yeah, we're talking about that outside lane potentially being the move to make a run. Is Beckner going to squeeze the 66 down so he can get the run off the corner? 6 not done with this fight just yet.
James Scioli lurking in the back, waiting for something to happen. They almost made contact over there back in 1 and 2. Beckner going to get the run coming out of 3 and 4. He's going to clear the 66 of Brandon 6 and lead heading into 1.
Behind them, there's Chris Rabel in the 29. Underneath Jake Nichols, who went backwards a couple of spots, and deeper in the field. It is getting very interesting. Look at this, Dom DeLeo on the bottom of the number 9 of Matt Bell. He's to his outside is Ricky Springer in the number 18, and deeper. Look at this, almost 3 wide into turn 3, Finian.
Yeah, these guys are not done fighting at all. These guys are brawling in the middle of the field, side by side, all the way back down. Everyone trying to get as many spots as possible.
Over up here, it's the 2 of Greg Mitchell and the 9 of Matthew Bell. Now we're 3 wide back here with teammate of Mitchell and owner, Fazekas Motorsports' own Tom DeLeo in the 22 with 17 car down on the bottom. Lots of good battles going on around the track.
There's Tyler Nichols in the number 41. He's chasing DeLeo in the 22. Started 18th. He's dropped a couple of spots. It's been kind of vicious so far to start this race. Everybody kind of fighting for room on the racetrack. This feels like a very small place with 40 cars on the road.
These guys are running out here like it's Bristol. They're constantly side by side and all together very close, despite the fact that this track is almost twice the length of Bristol. And these guys get still so close together with these next-gen cars, just the way that they're race all packed together.
There's the 26th of Jonathan Cogswell. He's starting to roll the top. He's been passing the 41 of Tyler Nichols, trying to get around the 64 of Ed Robertson. So he's already up a couple spots since the drop of the green flag.
I was making time up on the high side there. Gained a bunch of spots, and it's a lane everyone else isn't. That's playing out for him so far. Maybe laying down some rubber, sacrificing tires now for grip later, maybe, but taking laps away, already in lap number 7, and he's still gaining ground.
Yeah, one driver's actually been also making some good moves on the top side. Ricky Springer in the 18, up 6 spots, up into 14th at the moment. So he's made some really good progress since the drop of the green flag.
That's Brandon Key in the 95, trying to get towards his outside and have a run of his own, but going to tuck back in line. And it's interesting to note that we're at 4 tire sets this year instead of 3. And going to this track was kind of one of the reasons, because as Eric mentioned, tire wear is going to be a concern here. So these guys have an extra set for not only just this track, but for the rest of the season as well.
It's still pretty hectic back here towards the tail of the field. This is 25th, Delonte Ballard in the number 21. Almost gets in the fence. Garrett Grant and Danny Ware side by side, the 00 in the number 5. Garrett started this race in 22nd. He has gone backwards 6 spots, not the start he was looking for.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, is that you have to get going immediately, considering how close everyone is still. Despite the fact we're 9 laps in, if you're not up to speed, you can't quite find a groove, you're going to be dropping back to the back. Eric, you got a word for us?
I have some radio for you guys from Brandon 6 and company already talking about how this race is playing out.
Yeah, Nichols is saving hard.
Is he? Feel like a lot of these guys back here are saving hard.
Back here was from I believe it was the 29 of Chris Rabel, also the 25 of Ryan Chambliss, all hanging out and keeping it real esports. But they're already talking about how these guys are taking it easy right now. That's why 6 has not gone up there and tried to pass Beckner once more. Also said he got real tight with Beckner down on his door.
Thanks, Eric. And yeah, again, 6 already kind of staying on the 28th bumper, but not really pushing the issue there. I believe that was Chambliss in response. And Brian, by the way, all the way back in 24th place. His race started up in 26, so very slowly going forward, but he does have the 21 to his inside he's battling now. I like being on the high side here early, but the bottom might be the safer place to be. We continue to roll here, lap number 12.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising to see Brian start all the way down the order. We saw him finish very well at Chicagoland in 2nd place, almost ended up winning that race. But poor start here at Iowa, and also apparently getting some word that 19 almost had a spin and almost brought out the cautions for Brian Swan. He's way off base.
Then we're at market replay here at the exit of turn number 2. Have another look at how this happened. He was right ahead of Alan Ballacino in the number 70. Was there potentially contact here? No. Well, yes, he slows up and gets hit once, twice, almost thrice, and goes around for a slide.
He had a weird entry going into one. He went on the apron, then came back up. I don't know if he just couldn't save the car after that, but nonetheless, it's been a rough go for Ryan Swan. Just his most recent race at Mid-Ohio, he didn't even make it to the start-finish line and it was already spinning.
So a little bit of trouble there early for the number 19 Finian, but up front, Beckner now has a 0.2 of a second lead over Brandon 6, but deep in the field, this is still where the heart of the battles are, including this one. Michael Sturgill in the 17 and Greg Mitchell in the number 2, who has gone backwards also 6 spots. So maybe saving tires or just uncomfortable with the way his car is handled.
Yeah, we were surprised. I mean, we saw them in that radio chatter that they're saying, guys are saying that Jake Nichols was starting to save some tires. There wouldn't be surprised other guys in the midfield also decided to start saving tires, because hey, if you can save the tires now, you'll be a lot faster later on in the run. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done. So I wouldn't be surprised if some guys are saving, some guys are playing in the harder.
And with what Eric said earlier, fuel run's not going to be an issue. They can go about 80 to 85 laps, maybe 90. It's just going to be about tires and how you manage them. And riding on board in the 91 of Jake Nichols, he knows how to manage his tires the best out of anyone in the field.
Right now leaving a little bit of a gap to those top 4. David Weishart at the tail of it. Then it's Scioli 6 and Beckner up to the front. Right behind him is Rafe Slade, who is beginning to put pressure on him, and Chris Rabel just behind.
It's not even he's beginning to put pressure. He's been putting pressure on Nichols for the last 10 laps or so. He's been hounding the back of the 91, not quite able to find a way on by. Weishart was aggressive on the start, and he was able to immediately get past Nichols and put himself into 4th, but hasn't quite made any more forward progress. As we look at Scioli and 6 starting to go at it for 2nd place.
The 7 looking to the inside of the 66, going through 3 and 4. I was just about to say bumper to bumper here from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and now the David Weishart guys, including David Weishart, looking to find a way around the 66 of Brandon 6 from Keeping It Real Esports.
Well, big bump. Got the 66 real loose there at the middle of turn 2. Here comes Scioli with a big run, and Weishart sees the door cracked open. He will likely try to follow the 7 through it. Having to wait to get back on throttle. The 7 gets a real good drive off the corner, but again, that outside groove gives you that momentum to carry on the front stretch.
And going to try to carry it down into the corner as well. It's so tough to be the guy fighting on that inside. 6 typically with the advantage on the outside lane, but it looks like Scioli just going to slide in front of the 66 and get the pass done. Here comes Weishart now at the inside.
Well, Scioli's gone around the 66. Can the 33 do the same? And once again, it feels like every time I see the 33 of Weishart, he is contending or running in the 3rd spot, and he's trying to do that. Brandon 6 not giving up without a fight. Jake Nichols, though, licking his chops in the back.
Getting really interesting here off of turn 2, though. Around the 22 of DeLeo, and behind him, look at this big scrap with Shane Abbey at the pointy end of it. Galante Ballard, Gabriel Ellison, JT Poole, and more. This is turning more and more volatile every single lap. Getting hot. Ooh, big bobble by the 00 of Danny Ware as well.
Yeah, it's amazing these guys still in the midfield are still scrapping for position. They've not really found a way to sort themselves out. They're still side by side and still battling like there's no tomorrow. And I'm curious how the tire war is looking for these guys. As Eric, you got another for us?
Hey, I just wanted to piggyback right there off of what Kyle said. This thing getting more and more volatile. So this is radio from Gabriel Ellison and the Lucky Duck Motorsports crew.
This thing's starting to drive like.
So these guys getting pretty slick out here on these tires, and the fall off is starting to really show on the lap times, guys. And they're starting to use more and more of that racetrack.
Yeah, these cars are racing really well right now. I'm sure they're not driving very good, but they're certainly putting on a show. This has been non-stop action in the mid-pack and up towards the front. Here comes Weishart past Scioli.
And so we're looking to see, Weishart, I think he was saving maybe a little bit of his stuff, and now he's starting to push the envelope a little bit as he gets past Scioli. Also noticing some more guys in the back getting a little squirrely. Notably, Ricky Springer, who we were talking about, he was working his way up the order. Now he's slowly starting to drop back. He was 3 wide for a second in a battle, and he's looking, his car is definitely seen.
Oh, trouble behind him. Big crash.
Big crash coming off of 4. It's Brandon Key in the 95. And look at the rest of the field, managing to avoid the spinning 95, sitting still now as the first caution comes down on lap 25. Wow.
Brandon Key, big impact to the outside wall. I think it was the 64 of Ed Robertson that was also hooked up. Here's a look at the Simrap Market replay. Go back a little bit further to catch the genesis of this. but I think they're just going to get together here. The 95 gets loose, comes down the racetrack, collects the 64, and big impact for both those cars.
Yeah, nothing Robertson could have done in that scenario. He was just a passenger at that point. As you see the 95, you were talking about these guys getting slick with these older tires, and there you saw it right there, 95 losing traction, and then bam, hard into the wall.
Watch the red Roasted Gems coffee car come in your picture right here. Just avoid the 95.
Oof. That was the 26 of Cogswell that just got by. We'll ride on board with them and get full perspective of it here.
Wow.
Well, no, actually, wait, you have to keep watching on Cogswell. Actually, there's another thing that happened in turns 1 and 2. Off the rear of him after this incident. So there he gets by. That was the 95 of Brandon Key, and then watch off the rear here coming into turns 1 and 2. And whoops, was that not? Yep, there it is.
Yeah,
There's
Robertson. Yeah, Robertson was really struggling with the car after that impact on the outside wall, and here's a look at it from the turn 4 fence. Bam. Not dead there. That's a big hit for both those cars. Likely significant damage as we go back live and pick up everybody coming off a pit lane, and pit stops complete. Scioli will lead the way out of pit lane. Cogswell stayed out on that stop, but will likely choose to come in later.
Yeah, I'm trying to look.
He might have just led a lap.
Oh yeah, here
Yes,
he
he's
comes.
come back in.
Yep.
But I'm looking at the order these guys have come out, and it is all messed up. So Scioli is in the lead, then it's Slate, 6, Weishart, Rabel, Hartz, Beckner, and then Nichols all the way back in 9th. So
like,
I'm not sure.
From what I could tell, everyone took 4 tires, so it wasn't like there was mixed strategy there.
So I'm just kind of surprised. I'm going to take a little bit of look when these guys came down to pit lane if anything else happened. But I was kind of surprised to see such a mix-up in the order.
I was going to say, I don't
Oh,
know.
Nichols misses stall. That's why.
I
He
think
overshot
Beckner
that
might have
back
missed
up.
his stall too, because he came in as the leader, and to lose 7 spots, there's just that's baffling.
Yes, you're right about that. He also overshot his stall.
Yeah, got to be perfect. It's not easy to get into these stalls, and again, they're not large pit stalls here. They're pretty small. So, and you've got that curved pit lane for some of the front qualifiers. It can be a little bit of a challenge to sight your stall and stop in time. So, first caution of the race. Quick look at our race recap here. 1 caution. So far, just 2 leaders mostly. The 28 car, 143 laps to go this time by. Lights are out atop the pace car already. Nice quick yellows here at Iowa Speedway. We'll get racked up, stacked up, and go again.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go back green, Eric, you're back up in the booth. Any more reports for us, especially after the pit stops?
Yeah, guys, so everybody down here taking 4 tires and fuel. Got to get those hot, slick ones off. That's why you saw some guys make some mistakes sliding through boxes, missing pit boxes as well. But here's some radio for you as to why the caution came out with the 95 of Brandon Key there.
I had a damn spider run across my foot. Yes, it's a pretty big spider.
And I kid you not, spider ran across his foot and caused him to self-spin. He was so freaked out by it that's why the yellow came out. So quite a unique circumstance here as we get ready to go back green.
I'll say, and what we didn't capture on the Simrat Market replay is him lighting a match and setting his house on fire after that. Certainly I would just quit the race at that point. Alt F4 and be done with it. Green flag back in the air. Racing again from Iowa. Good launch by the 7 of Scioli, your race leader.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I've never
Spider
heard of that
causing a
either.
caution.
Whoa, Rabel split 3 wide in turn 1, guys. Look at the 3 on the outside of Hartz and the 28 on the bottom. Camaro split in the Mustang. They take the spot.
That was our caution there as everyone was closing in on each other. 3 wide on the start. Everyone in anti-position with some fresh tires beneath them.
Going to be interesting here for Beckner now that he's back in dirty air. We saw that he had a great jump to start out the race. Oh, that was close. Contact between him and Rabel. That looked a little tight going in the corner. In the back, here's Jordan Martin in the 11, and Matthew Bell in the 9, running 14th or 15th.
Off the back straightaway here again. Restarts. Everyone knows now that the cars drop off significantly, so this is go time. Grab spots while you can while you're all still close together. On board now with JT Poole on the outside, trying to make round up in the lane where everyone else isn't.
Yeah, it's so hard to make ground up when you're stuck side by side with this, because you don't really want to go for a third lane, at least at this point in time, because if it doesn't work, you're going to lose a lot of spots by making that kind of move.
This is really the meat and potatoes of the pack right here. Lots of good hard side-by-side action as it continues with Greg Mitchell now in the 2.
Just up ahead of them, Jacob Bell in the 77. He started his race in 9th, runs 12th right now. The 11 of Jordan Martin almost found the wall off of turn 2, now dives to the bottom of Senesac in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Bell actually just now barely side-by-side Seth Noel, trying to work his way around there. You see right behind the number 1 machine. And now going to look to the inside in turn 1.
I feel like we don't talk about Jake enough during the races. Always seems like he has a quiet night, staying out of trouble for the most part. That's always a good thing. So he's trying to get back around the 1 of Seth Noel, who running solid. Also haven't talked about him yet on lap 34.
Around the outside, like Bell will hang on for now. No changes up front. Scioli and Slate lead the way. Galante Ballard in the 21 on the outside of Greg Mitchell. This is for 20th spot. Alan Ballacino and the 00 Danny Ware. They run side by side just behind for 22nd. Kane Abbey, Jonathan Cogswell, and many more still door to door, deep in the field here, fighting for a spot. Everyone really 15th forward has gotten single filed out quickly, but it's hard to pull away the cameras from the guys running door to door all run long.
Yeah, especially considering we've seen them that they were running side by
spin,
side
the
for about 20
19.
laps. Ryan Chambliss?
He's gonna, now he's tapped the wall. That was the 19 of Ryan Swan, again going sideways at Iowa.
There's a look at it. Just gets loose on entry. Chambliss did a great job avoiding that. So did the 84, but maybe the 19 got the wall there, but just got sideways, maybe locked up the tires or something. Caution is out now, and this time there's a bigger crash. Yes, the 84.
Looks like the 5 of Garrett Granson in the wall as well, just up the road. And now he's back in the pits.
All right, let's take a look at the Simrat Market replay. Ooh.
Yeah, not too often you see a wreck on a straightaway. Usually you see it in the corners, but I guess a disagreement between these two on who should have been there on the racetrack.
That is strange. Do you guys think that might have been a little bit of net code there? Or that one's a baffle.
I don't know. To me, the 5's kind of far off the wall. I mean, I don't know, Fane. Looked like he just kind of got turned into. Cosman did.
Yeah, there was a little bit of net code, but the 5 was coming down on him, so they would have collided either way. But yeah, the 5 was slowly drifting down the track. I thought the 84 was further down, and it's kind of hard to tell. I don't think the 84 really drifted up at all. I think it was more the 5 coming down a little bit, and they just ended up finding the same piece of racetrack.
Back a little further, maybe we can analyze this a little bit more. But yeah, the 5 I'd expect to be right up against the outside wall here. He's about a half a lane off. Looks like that's tough.
See if we can go on board with the 5 of Grant and see if he moved down at all.
Let's see. Maybe Gyro Cam will give us some steering input here. Won't really be able to see the lines very well. It does look like he creeps a little left. Maybe the 41's on board. Tyler Nichols might have gotten a pretty good shot of this right behind these two.
You see Cos with a great run off the corner. And yeah.
Looked like the 5 moved down, but the 84 also came up a tad bit. I don't know. It honestly looks like netcode there.
Yeah, again, I'm watching the seam on the road because that's parallel to the wall. And right here, the 84 is got the right side tires just over that seam. And he's moving back to the right just the slightest bit, but so is the 5. Either way, I don't know that you can really place blame on either one. I think they both probably could have given more room, and now both of them have damage.
We're already, I was about to say, we're already doubled up. That was quick.
No, not quite. For Anthony to get back rolling, no one came down to pit lane. No one notable came down to pit lane, so everyone's just kind of ready to get back racing again.
So going back to that first pit stop where Jake Nichols and Travis Beckner both overslid their pit stalls. They had about 25 laps on those tires, and they're already over sliding the pit stall. So we get a long green flag run. Imagine going 40, 50, 60 laps on those sets of tires, and then trying to slow your car down pit road.
Yeah, I
think
can't imagine it'd be easy, Finian.
No, I definitely don't think so. That's not really something you usually account for. You know, you usually account for, the type of brakes are. You know, at the super speedways, you typically want to brake earlier because the brake package you got is significantly worse than what you have at a more shorter track. But yeah, usually you don't really account that much for the worn out tires. But clearly that can definitely be a factor. Eric, any word for us before we go back green?
The only car down pit road there, guys, was Cosman, obviously, a part of the incident there. But pretty much the consensus with Ryan Swan is that he just cannot run the bottom. He said he's tried it twice now, and both times he is spun. He said he's just not figuring it out on the bottom. So Danny Ware suggests he runs lane number 2. So expect the Sky Motorsports guys to try to help Ryan Swan get back from this 36th position up through the field.
Yeah, really did not look comfortable on the bottom of the racetrack entering turn 1. Thanks, Eric. And he got into turn 1. The car just kind of wiggled and wobbled, and he just couldn't catch it, especially with help from behind as he slowed down. So it is a challenging racetrack, and I think the bumps make this especially challenging on these next-gen cars. They're pretty stiffly sprung. Yes, they do have independent rear suspension that the old cars didn't have, Finian, but they also are really stiff, and they don't have a lot of suspension travel.
Yeah, I think that's really definitely going to play a lot into the issues on these guys. I really am curious if it's going to get how much worse it's going to be for these guys later on the run as the run goes on in general, because we started to see a few guys get a little bit slick before we had that first caution come out. A few guys just a little bit of wobbling and sliding around off the corners, but nothing too significant. We'll see though if we can potentially have a long green flag run coming up here.
Yeah, this will be an interesting restart now with Skyly on the bottom, his teammate Weishart, teammate and owner Weishart right behind, and then Rafe Slade on the outside with Brandon 6. I'm kind of looking for this 8 car to have a better takeoff here.
We'll see how he does. Kind of got spooked and caught out the last time, but this time with Slate on the outside, I wonder if that will help. Scioli will elect for the inside lane for the initial restart here. Time to go racing. Pace car will make the left-hand turn onto pit lane. And green flag back in the air, and Skyly another good jump on the bottom and a little bit of a stack up behind them, and the 11 takes the 24 and 0.9 3 wide into turn number 1.
Oh, very aggressive moves from these guys again, trying to make up as much ground as possible on these restarts. Could be very dodgy, but it looks like we make our way through without any incident.
Have yet to see an incident, but yeah, that outside lane did not get going at all, and it's sort of created this domino effect throughout the rest of the field.
Ooh, the 22 got squeezed up to the fence in turn 4. I think they got away with it, but they are playing with inches right now. The 00 is 3 wide with the 2 and the 26. The 61 of Johnson Stafford has a good perspective. He's just jammed in, packed in tight here at Iowa.
These guys absolutely dogging for positions like we've seen on every restart back in the midfield to just try to slog their way on through. And some of these guys really can't go much of anywhere because they're just kind of boxed in lane.
Yeah, very tight there. The Shane Abbey, Balancino, Greg Mitchell again, and there's Bronson Stafford. They almost look 3 wide there, but some of these guys still trying to feel their car out as we're on lap 45 of 170. A little further up front, saw the 24, Michael Kurgan. Had a bit of a wobbly restart, but it seems like he's got control of it in the 10th spot.
Into turn 1 now, Scioli leads Rafe Slate. Brandon 6, we saw in the initial run. He was your pole sitter, ran up front for a little while, and then dropped very quickly back. Long runs will probably not be his friend tonight. Now it tucks in line 3rd here, right in front ahead of David Weishart.
Yeah, actually the lead is already getting fairly sorted out single file. As I say that, gonna go a little bit double file in behind them. 24 now. You see Jacob Bell in the 77 on the outside as they're all stacked nose to tail.
Yeah, that's the closest side-by-side battle for the 10th spot. Well, now the 29 of Chris Rabel looking to the inside. That's from 9th, and then Seth Noel and Michael Kern battling for the 11th position.
Good battles here on the front straightaway into turn 1. Again, if we can get 30, 40 laps into a run, I think we can go green for a while, because this is one of those tracks that just ends up being a rhythm track. A lot like Bristol and Martinsville. You just get into a rhythm and you can just click off laps, but in big packs like this, I don't think that's super likely without little bit of dramas here. Here's Ryan Hartz now working over Jacob Bell, and one car just touches the wall there.
Yeah, and already starting to see these guys get a little bit more antsy here as approaching the halfway point. And see the 77 gets really close to the wall, off the run, loses a little bit of momentum. Noel almost gets into the back of him, now goes to the inside, and 77 going to bail out of the corner.
Yeah, he was blinking before. I noticed he was blinking. 29 is in the wall, or 24 in the wall again. That's Curran. I think Jake's just moving out of the way, trying to not be a factor to derail anyone's race. Well, we did see the 24 of Curran blink and the 77 Jacob Bell blinking as well. He's still blinking, so that's why he's dropping to the back, trying to get out.
Yeah, and now it disappeared off the timing and scoring screen. Not a good sign for Jacob Bell, who was having a pretty good race.
He's gone AWOL.
Oh, man. Oh, look at the 17 getting hounded by the 71. This is through turns 1 and 2. Here comes Bronson Stafford to the outside as they head onto the backstretch finish.
Yeah, Stafford, what a fantastic climb forward for him. He was not that far up just earlier on, but with the cautions held up quite a bit. Started in 37th of 19 positions into 18th, now 17th as he's duking out still side by side with Douglas Newbigging.
Newbigging and Sturgill, part of Lucky Doug Motorsports over there, trying to keep the 61 of Bronson Stafford from Sky Motorsports at bay. And just a little further up the road there is Gabriel Ellison in the 27. So 3 Lucky Duck cars right here in the middle of the pack.
James Scioli still leads out front by just over 1/10 of a second. Rafe Slade is keeping him honest. Good battle here for sure. Any mistake, and Rafe Slade will take advantage of that. Brandon Six is not too far back. Then Weishart, little gap back to Beckner, and then a half a second back to Jake Nichols. Now, he hasn't had the length of a run to really show his stuff. Something else is going on, isn't it, Finian?
Hartz is
Ryan
blinking.
Hartz just dropped out, haven't seen him come back. So couple guys having internet connectivity issues, and Hartz, that just happened immediately, and have not seen him come back. So we might have lost the 3. We already lost the 77. Bell has not come back out on the track or appeared on the track, and neither has Hartz for now. So I think Hartz might be out.
That's huge for some of these guys who are struggling to start the season off, and you're already getting basically 2 bonus points if the 77 cannot come back and the 3 cannot come back. And one of those is Danny Ware. Danny Ware has not had a good start to the year, but he's running in the 12th spot right now. Eric, what you got for us?
Yeah, I was just happened to be in Jacob Bell Racing when this happened to Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, my game just froze. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir. Same.
Yeah, my game just froze.
So the sim completely locked up on Ryan Hartz. He had to basically quit out of the session. He's going to have to rejoin, but he will be many laps down when he finally gets back in, guys. Unfortunate for the 3 car.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with tire failures or weather conditions, but you do have to deal with failures of some other kind. Thanks, Eric, for the update. And not internet related, but hardware, software related, and sometimes those are the most frustrating, Finian, because it can feel like it's somehow in control. It's not an outside provider like your ISP, but it's not something you can immediately fix.
No, it really isn't. It's similar to how real-life drivers have to deal with mechanical issues with their car and they have to bring it into the garage. Then hopefully they can try to fix it, get it back on the track, but there's several laps down. So Hart's dealing with a similar issue. He's going to be basically on a recovery drive for the rest of the night, which is unfortunate because that car definitely had a shot potentially winning this race.
And you heard Jacob Bell in there too, so it sounds like the same exact thing happened to him. We'll see if he can rejoin like the 3 parts, but like Eric said, if they do, it's going to be multiple laps down. Basically, they're already out of contention to win the race unless we have a caution fest from here on out.
Battle for 10th. You were talking about Danny Ware right before we got that update. 30th to 10th. This is the climb of the race for me. Continues to move forward, Danny Ware does, as we approach lap number 60.
See how much forward he's going to go here as they're ticking off the laps. Also, Bryce Senizek, too, has appeared in the battle in the top 10, up from 14th to 7th. So a lot of guys now starting to make their name present here, as he also mentioned Brandon Six trying to reclaim that second place spot. He did a good job on the restart, was fighting with David Weishart for a few laps, got that spot back. Here he is now. Actually, that's Weishart looking back on the 66.
The 33 looking for the 3rd spot, but Six is looking to the outside, trying to take second away from Rafe Slate. Weishart licking his chops, knowing what the 66 is about to do, giving the bottom open, but Slate backs off early, and we got a 3-car battle for second.
This is fantastic stuff. The 66 trying different lines. Weishart had an opportunity to go by the 66, but didn't have the run to do it. They're both now going to try the outside lane on Rafe Slate, but Weishart goes to the bottom in 1 and 2 again. Maybe likes the way his car is handling, and Travis Beckner sizing all 3 of these cars up.
Yeah, I think Beckner, best thing for him to do is probably going to be to just wait here and see how this battle plays out, as they're all kind of running different lanes each corner, or slightly compromised lines in each corner, as they're all still trying to fight together really hard. You can see coming out the corner, Slate pinching 6, and it looks like 6 is just going to get clear. He's up into 2nd place now.
I would say, is Beckner just waiting for something to happen, or is he just on go mode? Because the 91 of Nichols now to the inside of him for the 5th spot. He was on the bumper of the 28, but now he's looking to the inside as we're on the bumper of Rafe Slate, currently holding 3rd down. But Jake Nichols got around the 28 of Beckner, so Nichols up in the top 5. Here comes Weishart to the inside in turn 1.
Trying to make this stick on the bottom here. Very shallow entry is hard to make stick, but Nichols, as you mentioned, just got by. A little push there for the 33 up the road. Now Nichols is closing in to advance further up into the top 5. He's definitely found some pace here. Ran about 200s faster than the leader last time by.
Yeah, I guess he's maybe thinking now is go time here. We've gone about I think 20 some odd laps since the 2nd restart, and 30 some odd laps since these guys have gotten fresh tires after the 1st caution. So I think Nichols feeling he's saved enough tire. Now it's go time as he's side by side between Weishart and Slate. Nichols is going to make it 3 wide.
Well, no, he's just going to probably give momentum to whichever lane he chooses. It looks like it's going to be the outside here. Man, this is a really nice battle.
Saw the bump that the 33 took through 1 and 2. Watch it again right here. The car and for Nichols jumps sideways every time you hit that bump, but it's the shorter way around. This is a wide racetrack for how long it is, so you can really take advantage of it. The 91 backs way off there. He's going to let the 33 and 8 maybe sort this out before he tries to make a pass. But again, Weishart really pushing. He's struggling with the front end on that car, I can tell.
And you see Slate starting to win out that battle. He's still trying to throw that car in turn 1 on the bottom, but at some point he's gonna probably have to give here. That run off the corner is just too hard to beat, and it's like going to be cleared for just a moment. I imagine Nichols, yeah, you see Nichols jump to the top side. I think I hear there might be a wreck in the background. We remain green. The 13, the 18 almost getting into each other.
Oh, Ricky Springer's in the wall,
he's
turn
in the wall.
4. And he
was already in the wall, actually.
And he's got big time damage.
We'll have to see what happened to him, the number 18 car. But you saw Jake Nichols there use the outside lane to try and get around those 2 cars, and he did just that. Eric Weiling joins us as we look at a replay of Ricky Harden.
Hey guys, so I saw it right in front of me down here. Ricky got way loose, corrected up the track, and you see him there. He put it in the wall. Well, putting it in the wall broke the right front toe link, so that car could not steer. Brought it down pit road for a meatball flag. He's got to get that repaired before he can come back out.
Yeah, big hit there. And while all that happened, Jake Nichols got 2 for 1. Got by the 8 and the 33. Now Beckner joins the party here. Where do you go? What do you do?
Honestly, you just go to the top side, because Nichols, he basically went to the top side. That's how he was able to get past Weishart and Slate in pretty much 1 corner and in 1 lap. So Beckner, he's still trying to work that bottom lane, but I would say if he can, try to just follow the 8 around the top.
He took the Larson line approach, Nichols did. That's how he got around the 8 and the 33. I don't know if Beckner is going to do just that. I think he's just going to wait and see which lane goes the furthest, which one has the most momentum off. But right in front of these guys, Nichols all over the bumper of 6th, looking for the 2nd spot as Weishart clears Slate.
A good battle here for 2nd. I don't think Brandon is able to keep this car glued to the bottom where he needs to keep it, prevent the 91 from going by. So it looks like Vic will get that pass complete as we jump back. Look at this Hornet's nest off of turn 2, Finian.
Oh yeah, I just tuned into it myself. I had to go 3 wide into the corner, the 11 of Martin, diving up the inside of Bell. Almost takes him out off the corner. They somehow don't wreck for now. Bell trying to pinch Martin down to the bottom lane. This is going to get dicey real quick.
Yeah, they are almost 4 wide, almost 5 wide. This is nuts. This is supposed to be a short track. This is why they call it a super speedway, some do.
Iowa-Tega down the backstretch.
Yes. Iowa-Tona.
Iowa-Tona.
Ooh, and also Beckner just got past Ray Slate with a big dive into turn 1, and Slate not happy and gave him a retaliatory bump in turns 1 and 2.
Ramos all over. This one, I guess you could call this sorted out, despite that word not describing at all what's happening, but compared to about a lap ago, this looks a lot more orderly. 5 of Garrett Grant on fresh tires after his out is back rolling again. 16 laps down, but maybe trying to hunt for some positions back as the others have damage to drop out of this race.
Yeah, as you mentioned, things are getting pretty dicey. So Beckner, as I mentioned, he was able to get on past. We were still back at that battle, still not sorted themselves out quite. And now here comes Weishart to the inside of the 66 now. 6 now starting to drop down the order.
Now he's going to get near the wall. He almost got in that wall. He's trying to do everything he can to not let the 33 by, but he got loose there, and that's going to be it. So Weishart up to 3rd. The 66 is going to fall down to 4th. As the tires start to go away on this long run.
Alan Vallecino in the number 70, having a look to the inside of the 24 and the 71 of Douglas Newbegin, who's just on the outside looking in terms of the playoff picture. We are a long way from deciding that stuff, but chipping away at it is the number 71. Now pressure from Vallecino.
Taking a look at these guys heading through, and it looks like we've somewhat, I'm gonna probably regret saying this, it looks like we somewhat found some order in this field. There's a few battles going on here. You see the 77 and the 00. It's Mike Sturgill, Danny Ware on the outside in the 00, both duking out for the final spot in the top 10.
Yeah, both solid battles in the top 10, and up front, the 66
really
of Brandon 6. Yeah, he's starting to lose control of the car even more now. He's dropped outside the top 5, just got passed by Beckner and Rafe Slate. Now the 29 of Chris Rabel has his eyes set on the 66 of 6.
Yeah, we saw this the first run too, but the pit stop and the caution saved him. So it don't have to necessarily, didn't have to last the entire run. So we're seeing that 66 fast in the short term, burns it up in the long term, and the exact opposite process for the 91 of Jake Nichols, who continues to get faster the longer we go. He's the fastest car on the racetrack right now by a pretty significant margin, at least in the top 15, top 20 cars that are all in the same strategy at the moment. And Nichols is just taking chunks out of Scioli's lead, 2/10 last time by.
Yeah, we really expecting to catch him at one point, but as we always say, catching is one thing, passing is another. Scully's been putting a pretty good pace down. Just a matter of question, has Scully been pushing this whole time, or has he been maybe saving a little bit? Because this 91, he's pushing all the way right now.
I don't know if anyone has an answer for what Jake Nichols can do on older tires. And unless you're the 5 of Garrett Grant, you just pit, and then that's how you can get around him. But going back from season 2, Jake Nichols won every short track race that we went to, and the next guy up in terms of average finishes, you're currently with James Scioli, as Eric Weiland's back with an update.
Hey guys, I just wanted to document 2 pit stops that happened there under green. The 61 of Bronson Stafford, the 19 of Ryan Swad. 2 Sky Motorsports drivers decided to make it a 2-stopper here for the rest of the race. So these guys out here on fresh tires, you're going to see them flying through the field as you see the 67 fly by the 37, or excuse me, the 61 fly by the 37 there. But this is the 2-stop window open if you're going to do it. I just don't know that they have fresh enough tires to make up enough time left to make up all the time that they lose with that extra pit stop. They're trying a different strategy, Finian and Kyle, compared to what the rest of the field's doing.
That's the age-old question: overcut, undercut. With the tire wear this significant, maybe it's about 2 seconds a lap what we're seeing right now. So it depends on how you split it up and when you split up, and really a little bit of that is left to fate and the pace of everyone else to see how it pans out. But thanks, Eric and Finian. I like watching people try a different strategy. They weren't going to win on raw pace. One guy that might is Jake Nichols. He goes to the lead down in turn 1.
Yeah, so dive into turn 1, and it looks like Scully really, I'm not sure he really either tried to defend or didn't really have much to defend with. Has caution out, Dwight Beverly in the wall.
And he's driving away from the wall now. So the 3rd yellow of the day has come out, and I think that kind of ruins the strategy from the 61 and the 19, but we'll take a look at the replay here. And he just loses it in the middle of 3 and 4, and as soon as you spin out, the rear of the car goes up, and into the wall he goes.
That's a concussion right there, I think. Backs it in.
That's why Jordan Martin missed the 2nd race of the season back at Chicagoland. He had a really bad wreck at Daytona and had to sit out due to concussion protocols.
All right, cars on pit lane. Dwight Beverly is on pit lane. Will everyone else join him? I would
hope so. They're madmen. These guys have been out here on these tires on green flag laps for 40 something, almost 50 laps. So we'll see. I imagine you might see maybe one or two guys stay out, maybe to try to lead a lap under green, but everyone else is going to be coming down with fresh tires. Eric.
Hey guys, here comes the field down pit road. That was 50 laps right there, just over 50 laps on their tires since they bolted them on. You're going to hear everybody come by me. I'm down here in the 26 pit stall with Newbigging, my fellow Pennsylvanian here in the Area Cup Series. So everybody coming down, it's all 4 tires and fuel. I see both sides of each car going up here at the back end of pit road. You guys are watching the front here with Jake Nichols, James Scioli. Maybe a race off of pit road there. Danny Ware first out from back here. See what he can do, but all 4 tires and fuel here on pit road.
Pit road is a very busy place, but everyone rolling now. Eric, it sounds like after Brandon Key's incident, looks like you found some more content about that. Take us through what you found.
Yeah, so a little tidbit for you. Under one of the yellows, Brandon Key was like, yeah, I'll put the picture of the spider in the Cup Series chat here in the Area iRacing Discord. So Kyle here at SimTV was able to get this from Discord. That is the picture of the spider that ran across Brandon Key's foot. So yeah, that'd make me burn my entire house down, like you mentioned earlier. So quite a scary thing for him to have happen while he was driving. And I fully understand why he wrecked off turn 4 to bring out the first yellow of the night.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, that is genuinely terrifying. Like I'm thinking, like, oh, maybe it's like one of those kind of small spiders that kind of hangs on the corner. That's a big boy right there.
That is I think a wolf spider there, and I grew up with those things.
I'm surprised he didn't like kick his setup in.
Yeah, I would have.
It probably depressed the clutch pedal before it ran across his foot. That thing's got some mass to it.
Huge props to Brandon for sharing that to us here in the Cup Series chat in the Area iRacing Discord. He took the time while under yellow, just pacing around the racetrack to get a picture with his phone and be able to upload that. So that was pretty cool, and appreciate him sharing that with us, though. That may not be the best sight to our viewers, but you can obviously see why he wrecked.
He needed a photo for the insurance claim after he burns the house down. So
absolutely.
I had to do it, Geico. I had to do it. 15 minutes could save you 15 spiders or more.
Well, do we have a name for the spider?
Fungus.
See, I was thinking of Spidey McSpiderface or something along the lines of that.
Yeah, Halloween's next week.
I believe they call those from the land down under, guys.
Oh, gosh. I don't know how anyone is alive in Australia, to be honest.
I generally know.
I don't know how there's any people there.
Vegemite.
Yeah, this gives you godly superpowers. And
well, as we come back to take a look after these guys came out of pit lane, I wanted to quickly look. Seth Noel benefited quite a bit. He came in 9th, rolled out in 5th, so he gained 4 spawns down in pit lane and really didn't do anything special. Just ended up beating Beckner, Slate, and Senexak off the line. And I think we saw it was Grant, I think, that stayed out, or
Grant already pitted, so I believe.
Oh, he's a lap down. Never mind. He's a lap down. Never mind. He gained another spot. I'm not quite sure who he overtook, but he ended up moving up 4 spots.
But we did see there that the 28 of Beckner overslid his pit stall, and the 91 of Jake Nichols just barely overslid his pit stall, and that probably costed the 91 of Nichols the lead coming out of pit road, although he is second. But you do want to be the leader, as we've seen on these restarts. The inside line can just go and launch away from the rest of the field. But we'll see what the 91 of Jake Nichols does now that he's going to restart on the outside line.
So restarting again for the 3rd or 4th time now, but getting set up for the restart here for the Area Cup Series at Iowa, round number 4 of the season. Off week next week, but we're headed to Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway November 7th, followed by Atlanta, Darlington, and Bristol to get to about the midpoint of the season. 17 races. That would be race number 8 at Thunder Valley down there in Bristol, Tennessee. Time to go racing again. Lap number 88, 36 minutes of racing remaining. If we go green from here, Scioli and Nichols are on your front row. Green flag back in the air.
Boy, look at that fan out again. They're almost 4 wide back there.
Use all the racetrack and plus some. Ooh, they're really tight to the wall out of turn 4. Wow, a couple of drivers wobbling and wiggling their way down the front straightaway, and Beckner and Nichols now side by side.
Oh, turn in the background, Cosman Yonashiu around, and he got a little bit of help in that scenario, and that going to bring out the caution one more time.
We'll see what happened there with our Simrat market replay. On the Simrat market number 84 of Cosman Yonashiu, looks like he is in a tight pickle there, and that is the 37 of Jeff Ryan getting into the back of him and just tapping the wall again. I don't think he was harmed in that, but nonetheless, it still brings out another caution. I believe that's our 4th one of the night here on lap number 90.
About right. For the Simrat Market replay, we've seen plenty of those tonight. Fans, be sure to check out simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use, help you stay more focused on the racetrack. With that, we're going to take a break. We'll come back after this word from Simrat Market. Back live from Iowa Speedway here on Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and Eric Wineland, returning to the racetrack after our 4th yellow on the night, this time for the number 84. Going around after contact from the 37 of Jeff Ryan. Our 4th caution of the evening. It just had everyone come down pit lane, so no pit stops to speak of. The current race leader is James Scioli. David Weishart is right behind him. Eric Wineland, it's been a wild one so far. We've had some fantastic racing and a couple of yellows. One thing we have not seen is a strung out field and a long green flag run.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that, Kyle, that these guys have had quite a bit of racing to do. The tires are falling off big time. They're losing almost 2 seconds a lap after 20, 30 laps. So surprised that it has not strung out more. I've only seen 2 green flag pit stops, and that was the 61 of Bronson Stafford, the 19 of Ryan Swan that tried to pull some strategy, and unfortunately a yellow came out. I did want to give you guys one more update from an earlier incident. The second caution of the day, which was lap 37, and you documented a replay where you saw the 5 was off the wall. The 5 of Garrett Grant was off the wall, and another car below him was coming up the racetrack at the same time. So got the story from Miller Racing and Garrett Grant. You guys won't believe this, but a spider crawled up Garrett Grant's leg.
Oh my God.
And that is the reason he was off the wall. He was trying to reach over and smash it. Oh. He was not all the way out against the wall. So I didn't get his voice recording of it, but I kid you not, spiders have caused the first 2 cautions of the race tonight, and I don't know that we could have ever put money down on that to win at a casino, because I would have never bet on that.
Well, it's Halloween in a week, so I mean, I guess it's fitting, right?
Spooky season for real.
I
Absolutely.
was gonna joke around. That spider probably caused the caution, or Garrett Grant would say that, but it turns out that was actually true.
Yeah, not surprised. I mean, big time surprised, but not surprised that it's been weird here in Iowa. I mean, things get all sorts of wonky. But and what a great race so far. Just waiting for these guys to kind of figure it out, and with the tires falling off. I mean, driving it loose is something that I love to do as a driver, which I hope to do tomorrow night in the Truck Series race. But these guys are having a blast, just not happy with each other on occasions as I'm scanning across the radios.
You can definitely tell the weather is cooling down across North America right now, because all the spiders are headed indoors, and apparently across the laps and feet and faces of everyone in the race right now. And I'm checking around, because this is not a joke. When I sat down to do this broadcast, the first couple minutes, I have an extra HDMI cable that is at the back of my desk, and it fell onto my foot. And I thought for a second that there was a critter. So we're not doing so good with the whole critter thing tonight, for sure.
Hey, I dare Aspire to come in. I got a baseball bat. I'm not afraid to hit it.
I mean, I want to kill the spider. I don't want to like re-drywall the wall. You know, like. Oh boy.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Set it on fire. Grab it with
Yeah, I mean that's the best.
Grab it with a
best
pair of tweezers and drop it into the candle I've got going on.
I don't know what's better if it's on the wall. Should I hit it with the bat or set the wall on fire?
Both, just to be safe.
Yep. All right. Green flag back in the air, lap 95 of 170. We're back underway from Iowa.
Thanks, Sky. Only hit the rest of the field with a baseball bat. Because look at the jump he gets.
Every time, really good at the restarts. Tense moment though for second on back. Look at this as they come off of turn 2. Beckner. And look at Senesek to the bottom of the number 1. Oh, the 28 gets hit. He's going to spin if he doesn't save this.
Ooh.
Nope.
No, he's overcorrected. Oh, massive crash. They're continuing to crash coming out of turn 4.
And that was payback from earlier because Travis Beckner did something similar to Rafe Slate very early on in the race. Slate was not too happy with it. There was the payback.
Wow.
Well, he almost had it saved. Oh, man, look at that hit. We're at market replay here.
Big bump from the 8 of Slate into the 28 of Beckner. Then just overcorrects right here, and wow. Right in front of the 17 of Michael Sturgill and nowhere to go.
Watch this impact. Bam! Right into the outside wall. The 17 caught up in that, and not much he could have done. That will be a frustrating end to his night, I'm sure.
He had such a great run going. Look up ahead of the 91 of Jake Nichols. He's fortunate that the 28 overcorrected, but the 17 not so much.
Oh, he gets clobbered. Is that the 21 of Delonte Ballard that got him there at the end?
So I got to take a look back and see myself.
Yep.
Ooh, and then there's
26.
That's Cogswell again, isn't it?
Yeah, Cogswell's been really lucky, and it's kind of funny because it has Lucky Duck on the back of his on the back of that car, the code 50% off of Roasted Gems coffee, and he's been a lucky duck because he's narrowly avoided 2 wrecks tonight.
There's went the 5 of Grant. I believe he gets his lap. I think he's back on the lead lap now after that yellow.
The 5 is many laps down. Garrett Granton is now 10 laps down to 33rd and 13 laps down to the leader. So long way to go.
Well, we keep getting these yellows. He might be back on the lead lap.
At this rate.
And just an update, Ray Slate getting an EOL for causing that caution. I don't think either of us are surprised for that.
I don't think he's surprised at that either, but probably worth it. It worked. I mean, don't like catching
Is
other
it worth
people
it
up.
though? I mean, he's going to be way down the order.
Here's what I will say, is that just despite it taking out other competitors, he did pretty effectively clear out Travis Beckner.
He did.
I will say that. He wanted the 28 to get wrecked as an outcome. Certainly did that, although I don't really know with this new damage model. The cars seem pretty resilient. See if Beckner lives to see another day here.
Well, if he lives another day, and if something's coming back to the 8, who's going to be near him in the back of that?
We're going to start just sending people to space.
I'll say, regardless, it's going to be a tough climb for the 28 of Beckner because he had probably a race-winning speed underneath that 28 car. He was inside the top 10 all day long, was running inside the top 5 majority of the day, and just a bump from the 8 ruined it all. And like we mentioned, the 91 of Jake Nichols was right on the bottom, right behind the 28 of Beckner, and he was kind of teeter-tottering if he wanted to slow down and risk getting hit from behind or gas up and try to go around the outside. And then I think right when the 91 was about to make his decision, that's when the 28 overcorrected.
Well, the 28 has nothing to lose, really. I mean, he's already locked into the playoffs, so no real concern about that. But you certainly would like to maximize your efforts, win more races, and getting caught up in stuff like this isn't going to help. But for Rafe Slate, I think, Finney, you're sort of right. I mean, this isn't going to be helpful to him either.
No, definitely not. And Eric, got an update for us?
Hey, guys, so they deemed Rafe Slate at fault for the incident. We saw the little bit of contact, the bump he gave into turn 3, and Travis held on to it as long as he could there, but he is not happy over his team radio with Rafe Slade. I do have a quote there for you, but I'm not going to air it on the broadcast for the side of caution. But I will give you this little tidbit from Travis Beckner assessing his damage on his race car.
I got no engine damage, but my wheel is towed 45 degrees to the left.
They estimate that car has about 3 minutes of optional damage to take, so not very good in the Travis Beckner camp. But he has said that he is not happy with the 8, and we as broadcasters should definitely keep an eye if those two get close on the racetrack again, because I think there might be something a little bit of brewing there.
Well, that's why I'm waiting for the 8 to drop back behind the 28 here, because they're going to have to kind of very awkwardly start pretty close to each other here on this restart.
Oh, they're gonna. Are they actually gonna start nose to tail? If so, that's hilarious. Oh my God, they are.
Yep.
Well, I think the Ammons are going to keep it.
Oh, look out!
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Big stack up on the back straightaway as everyone gets slowed down for turn 3.
Beckner almost got PTSD from that.
All right, restarting. Lap 101 of 170. 70 laps to go. Those go by quick here. We're back underway. Oh, spin! Big crash!
Oh, massive crash. Danny Ware in the 71 of Newbigging involved.
Oh, more.
And he gets tapped. I believe that was Culberson that just
Yes.
clipped the 71.
Just at the end there.
Man.
Wow. Well, you know what they say, cautions breed cautions, and we got another one right off the rip here with the Sam Market replay. Oh, wow. Didn't
71
go correct
didn't.
there from the 00.
71 didn't actually contribute to it. It was just the 00 getting loose that triggered this whole thing. He didn't get a very good restart. Kind of drives off in here pretty hard. And, maybe some net code off the 09 and then chases it up the hill. And nothing the 71 could have done there.
The 26 car has just missed his 3rd wreck of the night. Go on board the 26 of Cogswell. I cannot believe this has happened for a 3rd time now.
He's got his house spider-proofed. Oh my gosh!
1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, hey, well, again, for 15% off, you can use promo code at roastedgems.com.
Just keeping him
How do you
awake.
think he's avoiding the wrecks? How do you think he's avoiding it? He's got Roasted Gems coffee. Look at these cat-like reflexes. Unreal.
Use code Lucky Ducks.
He does not
You
drink
can be like
decaf.
Jonathan Cogswell.
Oh man.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I was looking back at the replay. That wasn't any net code. That was just that big jerk was just an that was the first overcorrect by the 00, and then he got put out of lane, and then the car got sideways, and there was no really going back from there.
Big jerk. Well, we are several cautions in now as we hit the lap 103 mark here. And again, there's not a lot of time left once we go back green. These last 65 or so laps are going to tick off pretty quick if they're under green. If they're not, then it might take a little while longer. Now the 8 found himself ahead of the 28, and so far they've been mostly behaving.
Here comes the 28 down pit road. I think he's going to take some time to use the optional repairs and fix the steering on that 28 car. And I believe this is our, 6th caution of the race?
Caution.
Sounds about right.
Wrong button. Caution number 6.
Okay, and the over-under for the poll question was 7.5. So two more cautions,
Wrong.
and then we get the answer to the question.
I'll take that.
There was a surprising 50-50 split in the chat with those that said under and over. And I noticed a lot of unders after I gave the statistic from the short tracks, 17 yellows back in season 2. And if that doesn't convince you to bet the over, I don't know what will. Then proceed to have 2 people bet the under.
Yeah,
I tried helping you.
We are not going to get to the Sim TV record tonight, but I think the record still stands at 24.
Yeah, there's no way we're going to get to that. But man can hope, I guess. None of this play. It's always Martinsville. It's usually never the other short tracks. It's almost always been Martinsville. Bristol's never really been that bad, or Richmond.
Yeah,
for that
Bristol we've
matter.
seen go green a lot, shockingly.
Yeah.
But Iowa, not one of the places we typically see a ton of yellows. This is probably the highest yellow race I've seen here. But this is also by far the most cars I've ever seen race here.
Yeah.
Typically,
And
by the
we
time
had
you
2
get here-
spiders intervene.
Yeah, the spider
In breaking
cautions. Spider cautions don't count. I'm just making that a channel-wide rule that spider cautions don't count in your caution count. And they're perfectly valid reasons to red flag the race and set everyone's houses on fire and rebuild them. And we'll come back to this in 2026. Start over.
Well, Eric, any non-spider related news?
Well, I was gonna say we probably don't want to race in Iowa anytime soon after the way things have gone tonight. No, but I got some news for you here from Sky Motorsports and what happened there on that caution.
Dan's got to be pissed. He's gone.
He's dead.
Demon
He might be
Danny
on
came out.
concussion. He might be on concussion protocol.
Demon Danny came out.
So as to why that happened, listening to these guys talking about what happened and kind of giving instructions to the rest of the guys still there what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he just got
lost it mid-corner and it just snapped when he tried to save it.
Which corner?
1 and 2, right on restart.
Oh, yeah, so he probably hit the bump trying to turn it right.
Oh, good call.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So those guys assessing what happened to their teammate and making sure they know not to turn right over the bump there at the exit of turn 2 after getting loose on the restart. But the restart lined up. We'll see if Bronson Stafford and others can try to drive their way back forward.
Yeah, that'll happen. You get the car in the air, and then you land it. It's got all that load on the front tires, and if your wheel's to the right, when that car lands off that bump, yes, it will take you with it. Green flag back in the air, and Scioli is gone already. Double file, nice clean restart behind him, though.
Yeah, he's been really perfecting these restarts to a T, and I'm surprised no one else has been able to figure it out. That being said, in behind them, 3 wide in the back as Ray Slate's trying to drive away up to the front, trying to make up some spots.
Seth Noel in the 1. We haven't talked about, well, we talked about him briefly, but he's managed to quietly creep inside the top 5. He's in front of the 66. Oh, that was close. And now the 66 is going to look down low heading into 1.
Big dive from Brandon 6, but can't make it stick behind him. Some good battles here midfield. 32 in the 2. The 21 and 25 are in the mix here as well. Brian Chambliss is as high as he's been.
Yeah, and also, guys, where did Alan Malachino come from? Because he's currently in 6th, actually currently back in 7th, was just battling for 6th. As Bryce Senizak took that away from him. Started in 32nd, is up 25 spots in the 7th place.
Yes, he has had quite a climb as well, but running solid in the 7th. We'll see if he can do that. If he can continue to do that for Ezekiel's Motorsports, as Brave Slate was up there and then got the EOL for one of the cautions, and now someone else has to take the place. And Ballagino said, why not me? But here's the 27 of Gabriel Ellison. Also, a lot of these names making really solid runs inside the top 10.
Now, a lot of forward progress by a handful of drivers at the expense of backwards progress by others, including the 28, the 18, 77, 3, 5, and more. So it's been really up and down. It hasn't been a lot of people that have just kind of stayed where they were all night. It's been pretty volatile all the way around the racetrack for the last 111 laps. 60 laps to go here, Finian, as we continue to watch battles the bottom half of the top 10.
He's always really been where a lot of the action taking place, just outside the top 10 and just inside the top 20. A lot of brawls, especially in that 22. Dominic DeLeo, he's not been able to get out of any of the scraps. He's been constantly battling side by side with one driver or the other, and he's been slowly moving his way up. Although he started in 13, so he's only moved up 2 spots into 11. Now back to 12th. It's a 21. Delonte Ballard around the outside. He's going to try to fight.
I think Delonte was caught up in one of the wrecks too, and he's managed to recover quite nicely, battling for that 11th spot. Now trying to get around the 11 of Jordan Ball, still trying to get around the 22, and he will clear him there. Now has his eyes set on the 11 of Jordan Martin for the top 10 spot.
Good run here on the outside, going to follow the 32 around the 70 and 11. Again, I still like this upper groove. We're seeing the track starting to get rubbered in a little wider up the road. And if you look from high above here, look at how wide this rubber track is. If you circle this, look at this. All the rubber goes all the way up to that second hash mark. And that means that there's grip to be had everywhere, and the 70 and 21 are going to explore those limits 3 wide into turn 1.
Instead, they're going to back off aggressively, just to make sure he doesn't get involved or get spun around. And going to try to fight back now coming off of turn 2. A little bit of shaking and wobbling in the background. Rafe Slate almost got turned in the outside wall.
The 28 is nowhere near the bumper of the 8, so that's good for the admins.
And for the 8.
Yes. More importantly, the 8.
Yeah.
But keep going.
Oh no, I was gonna say it was funny on the restart. I was watching them go off into turn 1. It almost looked like he dove just to make sure he got away from the back of Travis Beckner. He like shot up like 2 or 3 spots to kind of separate him and give him some distance.
And 0 distance here between the 7 and the 33. Almost like butt buddies. They are teammates. It's owner in second and driver in first. They're starting to pull away from Seth Noel and Jake Nichols.
Good run through the center of the corner. Noel, though, under fire from Jake Nichols. And Nichols dives to the inside. Will bring Brandon 6 with him, or at least 6 will try. And Delonte Ballard right in the mix as well as the sun gets low in the sky here in Newton, Iowa. Double wide on the front straight for 4th as the 91 clears for 3rd.
Yeah, here to see if Delonte Ballard can kind of get himself further up the running order. If he can potentially fight for the lead, because that 21 car is looking pretty quick as Nichols just clears the 1 ahead, and here comes 6 now fighting still with Noel going into 3 and 4.
I'll say the 21 was just battling to get inside the top 10. Now he's trying to get in the battle to enter the top 5. I mean, what a great run for Delonte Ballard here, and that's a teammate for Jake Nichols and Solar Flare Racing. Haven't talked about the rest of the team too much in a good light, because they've always seemed to be involved towards the middle of the pack, making some contact, banging fenders. But good to see Delonte Ballard, especially with the way his season's going, have a solid run in 6th.
Here's the car I want to highlight. Brian Chambliss in the number 25 came out strong early in the season. Tonight, though, we haven't seen a lot of him, but now when the time is right and the points are going to start to pay here towards the end, up inside the top 10 here, Finian continues to climb forward as a rookie here in this series.
Yeah, I was going to say, he only had one other start, and that was at Chicago and 2 weeks back, and ended up finishing in in second place after a really solid run. Poor start to the night here, but has been slowly working his way up the order. Now just cracked inside the top 10. Not many place for him to go up ahead, as they're almost 3 wide, duking it out for 7th.
Yep, that's Senna Stack and the 32 of JT Poole. And right behind those guys is the 27 of Gabriel Ellison, now looking to the inside of the 09.
50 laps to go this time through, and Scioli leads. Weishart right behind him, and it's a half a second gap to Nichols, but Nichols was a 10th faster. Same story, different lap. He continues to get quicker and quicker as the runs go on, but we've had so many short runs, and being out front is such an advantage on the restarts. I'm not sure if the 91 is a favorite, even though he's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack all night long.
Yeah, and Eric is back in the booth here, I assume with an update or some more information. Eric?
So I got some great radio. So as if we haven't had enough tonight of spiders and wackiness happening here in Iowa, the 2 leaders, James Scioli, David Weishart, a part of David Weishart Racing, they're having fun with spotter Brad Slaughter Jr. Let's take a listen into the couple bits of radio I got here from their team.
All right, David, get up there and take that 7 car out. He's no good, dirty.
Put me out of my misery.
Put him out of here. Get him out. Get him out.
If you want to, just go ahead. You suck on the long run. Just kidding.
Hey, use this. 91's got nothing for you, boys. Just keep it in your mind.
Use that. Don't use that.
So they were having fun with me, and while I was listening in on the team channel, Brad wanted to make sure he got that in there. No, they are keeping their eye on that number 91 of Jake Nichols, now 3rd behind them. But David, I didn't get the quote on it, but David said he was crawling. He felt like he could drive a half second faster than what he is right now, and he's just absolutely having to save everything he can on those right side tires, both the right front and the right rear. Guys, they are not driving to their full pace, so if we get a short run to the finish, expect a wild one compared to the way these guys are racing here with 45 laps to go.
Well, thanks, Eric. And yeah, I don't know. You can never count out this 91. He's getting closer now. If we have another caution, I'm putting my favorite squarely in the 7 or 33 camp. I think it just makes sense. The restarts are so powerful. The short run pace of the 7 and 33 is also good. But here's a question, Finney. We haven't really seen the 91 probably go as hard as he could, trying to not conserve tires because we're not towards the end of the race yet. Why would the 91 show his hand yet? We have no idea how fast the 91 actually is yet.
No, definitely not. I think he knows that he can save a little bit and still be fairly quick. So I think that strategy's kind of worked. Just kind of playing it easy the first 20 laps into a run, and then about 20, 30 laps, and then start to turn the burner up a little bit, and then go a little bit faster. I'm also looking at this fantastic battle in the midfield between the 12 and the 13, around 22nd, 23rd. They've been going at it quite a bit to the point where they're almost wrecking. Oh, as you see them get really tight 4 wide into turn 1.
Oh, does the 26 have another lucky moment? Oh,
boy!
Oh my God, he almost hit the wall, but he got through those 2 cars. Unreal.
He almost cashed in all the luck chips in one moment there. But now the 4 and the 8 and 19 are all still scrapping for spots, as is the battle for 10th spot. Dom DeLeo has it. Chambliss and Jordan Martin want it. This is a pretty hotly contested fight as well.
Yeah, we're trying to get themselves just inside the top 10. As DeLeo's been in that scrap and looking a little bit further back. These guys fanning out. So go back to that same group of drivers. Ryan Swan, and there's the 4, Alex Weaver.
19.
And the 19 gets turned.
Day green for now.
I'll say that might not bring out a caution, but we did hear that the 19 cannot run the bottom, but he ran the bottom there, and it just did not look right at all.
Yeah, he got a little bit loose, and then he had the 26 end up finishing him out.
Ran so far bottom on the front straight, he almost went up to the top by accident. Coming to next time by to 40 laps to go. And Seth Noel fighting off Brandon 6th right now. This is a battle for 4th.
And Noel just barely clears the 66 for 4th place, and going back up, and Jake Nichols way up on the top side trying to get a run. Ooh, almost got into the wall. Had to actually get out of the gas and make sure he did make contact with the wall off turn 4 with such a big run.
I was saying the one of Noel, oh, we got loose there. Big time loose from the one of Noel. He was falling back to 8th, and we got Chambliss all the way up near the wall, going through 1 and 2, but he was trying to roll the top and was falling back. Now he's all the way up to 4th again.
Yeah, Chambliss actually just got it loose going into turn 1. We'll see it right here on the SimRat market replay. Heading off into turn 1 up on the high side. Just throws it in there, gets a little bit loose, counters it to save it, keeps it off the wall, but loses quite a few spots in the process.
Yeah, same thing we saw with Danny Ware, except that time he didn't overcorrect it, just corrected it enough to catch it and used every bit of the hill to slow that momentum down before he got into the fence. So good catch there, but it will drop him all the way down to 17th spot.
Looking at Alan Ballacino now heading off into turn 1, currently running. He was kind of up and down the order. I was afraid he was going to actually drop outside the top 10. Has found himself back up into 7th. But also, I mean, we really haven't mentioned a whole lot. JT Poole just ahead of him, as he's now looking at attacking the 66 for 5th place. He had a quietly, really solid day, quietly moved himself up, now 25 spots up, tied with Alan Ballacino for most spots gained this race.
And right behind Ballacino, see the battle between Delonte Ballard and Dom DeLeo. And the cautions come out for the 7th time tonight. And it's the 71 of Doug Newbigging that's brought out the caution.
Might have been more than just him involved in it. That car is absolutely destroyed.
Oh. I am not a mechanic, but I don't think the right front's supposed to look like that.
Definitely not. Here's what happened. Kind of all by himself on the back straightaway. Maybe it was on his own here. Goes off into turn 3, and there's already a little bit stabilized, and it looked like he was trying to come to pit lane.
Oh, wait, that was part of the caution? There was a wreck up ahead of them.
What were the car numbers involved there? Because I saw other cars slow.
13 of Player and the 41 of Nichols.
Oh, just a little further up the road here. So we got a 2-for-1 special here, and wow. Holy guacamole. I'd like to say that the 13 just got loose and could not save it.
I think
Same
that's what
story
happened,
as we saw with the 5 and the 64 earlier in the race.
Yeah, and Tyler Nichols not happy. Just responded, bruh, over the radio several times. And he's not a happy man, as I'm sure Eric can bring more information to that.
Well, unfortunately, guys, I was not listening into their channel when that happened. I was more so watching Douglas Newbigging, who spun out by himself, touching the apron over in 3 and 4, and I thought that's what brought the yellow out, but I missed that.
Me too.
Incident there between Andrew Player and Tyler Nichols. No, but everybody down here on pit road, you're hearing the cars come by me. 4 tires, fuel once more. That was another 50 laps on that set of tires for most drivers in the field. It's going to leave them with 1 set remaining here, guys, with just under 35 laps to go. Pretty much gonna, if you pretty much go halfway through this stint, then you take those tires, but you may want to save them to those last 5 laps. We just don't quite know how the race is going to play out now, and that we had yellow after yellow after yellow, but stay tuned. I'll have some radio from Solar Flare Racing on a completely separate incident coming up here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Eric. As Jake Nichols comes off pit lane second, James Scioli leads the way off pit lane. Weishart drops to 4th, so Finian not a great qualifying, not a great pit sequence there for the 33.
Yeah, it's amazing how we've been seeing some, minor issues down on pit lane for some of these guys. I'm going to double check and make sure if it was an incident where he did slide through his stall, and indeed he did. He overshot his pit stall just a little bit. So it's interesting to see how many of these little issues some of these guys have been having, and it's been costing them, not too many positions, but enough to where it's an issue, especially when they're all fighting it out for the win.
Yeah, we were on the 33 of Weishart as he was making his pit stop in the 91 of Nichols. Boy, he like bulldozed right through. I thought he was about to overslide his pit stall, but he did not, and that's why he's up to second now. Speaking of second, speaking of second, Eric Weiland back for another round in the booth.
Up, Eric, cannot hear you.
Just realized I was muted. I'm going to preface this radio with, if you do not like hearing 4-letter words that should not be said, then go ahead and mute your ears now, because this was too much work for me to try to bleep all this out in such a short amount of time. Here's Solar Flare Racing just as the Ryan Swan incident happened under green right there.
Oh my god, it's gonna fucking wreck, dude. What is he doing?
They're gonna wreck it.
God, he's a fucking idiot.
No yellow, no yellow, no yellow. He's in the grass.
I'll get that on radio. That dude's a fucking idiot.
Who is it?
Fucking Swan.
Oh yeah,
Did
he's a
he
dumbass.
say he was pitting?
Yeah, he said he was pitting right in front of Cogswell, like literally directly in
that
front
was
of
the
him.
guy said he was pitting?
Yeah.
Oh, he's coming out the purple leaders? Oh, that was not the leaders.
They were not happy whatsoever, as you could hear on the radio there. They don't even know why Ryan Swan was pitting, nor do I, to be honest, because these guys have been good on fuel ever since they took the set of tires way back 50 laps ago. But I guess he wanted maybe another set of tires to try to drive to the end. Regardless, the yellow came out just a couple laps later, as we saw with the incident there with Andrew Player and TK Nichols, as well as Douglas Newbigging. I'm still not sure on who brought that yellow out, but regardless, 4 tires of fuel for everybody up and down pit lane. It's gonna be a dash to the finish. We're gonna go green here with 31 laps to go, guys, and expect them to maybe use the last set of tires sitting here on pit road, but it's gonna take them a little bit before they're brave enough to come down and take them.
Yeah, certainly not what the 91 wanted, because he's going to have to fight another short-run fight, and the long-run fight is the one that I think he was going to win no matter what, Finian. But again, I think this goes squarely to Scioli, as this will help him out a little bit, give him another chance to drive away on the restart. But David Weishart is going to have to come with him on the outside, though, and we'll see if Jake Nichols is going to drive a little harder here and maybe not save so much tire with this little left in the race.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if the teammates will work together, the 7 and 33, obviously with the same spotter. They'll try to synchronize this and time this to perfection to catch the 91 sleeping. We'll see as pace across pit lane.
Time to go racing again, 31 to go. Green flag back in the air, and yes, the outside lane shoots away, and Weishart is now clear of the 91, but Nichols is going to fire it in there deep into turn 1 to try to keep some overlap, but he will not be able to keep it as we come out of turn 2.
Side by side goes Poole and Brandon 6 racing it out for 4th place. Seth Noel dives way high up the track, trying to defend his spot in 4th place as they're almost 3 wide coming off of turn 4.
Boy, it is a hornet's nest back there, and there's the 8 of Slate right in the middle of it.
No,
he's going to collide!
Oh.
We're going to have a crash! Mitchell sliding into the wall. The caution's back out. That's caution number 8 on the night.
30 laps to go, and the 2 of Greg Mitchell goes around. We'll look at Simrad Market replay.
We were kind of already on it, right in the middle of the hornet's nest, and the 8 just getting in the corner too hot, right into the 2 of Mitchell. The 8 saves his car. Mitchell going to tap the wall there. Don't think he got hit by anyone. There's Grant going to avoid it, but looks like the 8's going to get another EOL.
That was a big dive there from Grave Slate. Here's a look from on board the rear bumper of the 2, and I don't think he was going to make that corner with the 2 there or not.
Yeah, no, and that's not gonna. I'm sure the admins are not gonna be too happy with them. And Hunter, I'm gonna ask real quick. Go ahead. don't have access to the rulebook immediately. Is there anything that happens to you after causing 2 incidents?
You know what? I believe there is. I can go ahead and try to find where that would be.
Well, while you're working on that, we'll step away for another break, but just after this, fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Back live from Iowa Speedway in the Area Cup Series, the 4th round of the 2022 fall season. Just before the break, we're talking about the number of times you caused an incident and the penalties as such. Hunter, you got an update for us.
Yes, so over in the rulebook, it's under section 3.9. For each yellow flag, the series admin will deem if there was a driver at fault or if it was a racing incident. And if you're at fault for causing a yellow, penalties are as follows. So this is for Rafe Slade. He already has 1 EOL. First offense is just an EOL. Second offense is a drive-through penalty, and if he's the cause of 1 more caution. Third offense would be the driver being parked for the remainder of the race and immediate probation. So he's already on strike number 2. So looks like the 8 of Slate is going to have a drive-through penalty, and I believe that is under green. So as soon as the green flag flies, expect 8 to come down pit road and serve that penalty.
I'll actually give you an update on that. Apparently, race control determined that to be a racing incident.
Really?
So they rule it more as a racing incident, so no penalty for anyone involved.
That was a lucky break for Rafe then there. But either way.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, I guess we know. Lights are still on the pace car for now. We're going to be coming to just over 20 laps to go at the restart, which means we've got about 10 minutes worth of racing remaining when we go back green. Remember the rules, though. We've got a green-white checkered to play with. After that, we finish the race, checkers or wreckers. That will play into factor probably a little bit quicker than normal because of the short laps here, 24 seconds. And it's going to tick by pretty quickly here, Finian. So any positions you want to gain, you're going to have to do them pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely here. And also got Eric Wineland back in the booth. Eric?
Hey guys, so donning my race control cap here in area, because I also happen to wear the competition director cap here in area. I did review that incident, and I was with you guys. I could have seen them giving the penalty to Rafe Slate, but I also could see how it was a racing incident. Before I even heard their team radio, it just looked like they were 3 wide without knowing it. But here's some team radio from Fazekas Motorsports. Rafe Slate and Greg Mitchell going back and forth here. I apologize for Rafe's mic. He clipped like no other while talking, but listen in.
I thought there was a hole there. I'm sorry.
Were we 3 wide?
Yeah, we were.
That might be on me then. I didn't know that.
Late, but like it kind of wasn't at the same time. But I'll.
So they did not know. Greg specifically did not know they were 3 wide, and he came down the track as Rafe was trying to go up the middle. Race control erring on the side of racing incident, which I believe they made the right call there. If I were looking at that from an admin view, but regardless. Rafe catching a break there, not getting a drive-through penalty. He will restart from 14th here as we get ready to go green with 24 laps to go, guys.
All right, well, getting ready for the restart here, and like I said, it'll be about 10 minutes worth of racing. It is going to happen very quickly. Time to go back green. James Scioli is in command. David Weishart is to his outside. Jake Nichols is right behind the race leader. Green flag, and Seth Noel was not sleeping. He gets a pretty good restart. And the 22 slow, and the big stack up behind him.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. Missed a shift. It's kind of surprising to hear someone missing a shift with the new transmission these cars have, but I guess he did, or just whatever it was, didn't get up to speed. Got a huge bump from 27 in behind.
Well, that nearly created another incident back there as the one of Seth Noel was trying to find some momentum on the outside. Now he's door-to-door with the 91 of Nichols for third, heading into turn one.
Seth Noel trying to rip that high line, and it's working for him for now. And all he can do is be a thorn in the side of the 91. That will help the 7 and 33 put their distance back on the Solar Flare Racing number 91, and so could the 66. He could be a part of that thorn process here. Here comes to the outside as we approach lap 150, Finian.
Yeah, starting to get down to it here, and I think that advantage that we've seen Jake Nichols have of having the pace in the long run, I don't think it's really going to help him here as we're getting closer and closer to pretty much a sprint race as Brandon 6 gets very loose off of turn 2, almost dooring the side of Jake Nichols.
He's getting closer and closer to hitting that wall. I mean, he's kind of closer these last couple of times by.
Double file behind them on the front straightaway. Pretty tight quarters back here as well. Easy to make mistakes when it's this close. And the 66 might actually clear the 91 if he keeps making progress like he is. Look at him. Look at the run he gets down the straightaway. The 91 drops in line. He's going to try the high side now, it looks like.
See, does it work out for him? Indeed, he does. Gets a great run off the corner. Brandon 6 up ahead, getting a great run, trying to go to the inside of Seth Noel. Can't quite get there. And Seth is going to try to run the 6 up the track a little bit as he tries to defend third place.
Oh, that might get tight coming off of 2. Whoa. That 66 has gotten it close, but 91, Jake Nichols going to have to try and find a way around it. He's going to go a groove up on that outer lane. 32, JT Poole is closing in as well.
I like it. He's seeing that drivers are making up ground up there. And he's trying to go up high, but the 66 took his line away, and Nichols will have to turn down to the bottom on the bump. This is precious time he's losing, though, behind Noel, Weishart, and Scioli as the 7 leads the way with 19 to go. JT Poole turns down to try to hold Alan Ballacino behind him, but good scraps up here inside the top 10.
Yeah, you can see everyone fanning out to defend positions. Here comes the 91, a fantastic run off of turn 4. Going to look down the inside of Brandon 6. Going to try to run that top lane, which we've seen guys been able to defend pretty well with. But these guys are going to be pushing it. He gets a little bit loose at the corner, but gets enough of a run to clear the 91.
Well, now 91's going to give another go at it on the outside line. He might have something for him here. Coming off of 4.
Oh, he's in the
Not
wall.
Quite.
Scraped the fence just a little bit.
Just gave it a little kiss, that's all. Just gave it a little smooch. Hey, how you doing? Keep it moving.
Seth Noel was working over Weishart there for a minute, but he wasn't able to keep the overlap, and laps are ticking away quickly. I like where Scioli is. I like the short run pace that he's got. 17 laps fitting is not a lot of time to burn off tires. Go, go, go. You're running out of time. They're both in the wall out of turn 4.
66 in the wall, the 91 in the wall, and here he still comes, though. He has enough momentum to go to the inside, but is it enough? We see Nichols, he's been a little bit stronger to that outside lane, can't quite get anything.
Boy, it was a matter of time before the 66 got into the wall. Now he's got the 91 running his tire tracks. They both might be in the wall here, coming out of 4. Nichols, a little more than the 66, but massive run there for Brandon 6.
This yellow and purple car's caution comes out for trouble on the front straightaway. That 66 really impeding the progress of the 91, and it is helping the 33 and 7. I think the 91 would be a much bigger nuisance to those 2 race leaders, but let's have a look at what brought out our caution. I think it was the 37 potentially. Let's have a look.
Yes, it was him and Greg Mitchell that got involved. We'll see what happens here coming off at turn 4. Here comes the 2.
Ooh, yep, that's off. We've seen this incident a couple of times tonight. Same deal. Turning off the wall and back across the racetrack.
Him and Swan getting in the wall, and then 37 trying to get out of it, gets into the 2, and they both go in the wall. Keep it going straight, but the caution does come out. And right on board with Andrew Player here, seeing he got in the wall too. Seeing the action unfold in front of him, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I believe that is the 9th caution of the race.
That's correct.
Oh, and this is going to be interesting here. Laps winding down.
Ooh.
Guys on pit lane, some staying in, some going back out. Ooh, we are seeing a split in strategy. Maybe not so much of a split. Majority staying out. Eric, can you give us some more information on this situation?
Well, this is wild and not what I expected, guys, because everybody still has a set laying down here in the pits. I got the back part of the field. I got the 26 of Cogswell, the 19 of Swan, who I didn't think had any more tires after he pit under green there earlier. Jake Nichols down pit road is the most notable up front. 15 laps to go. Might as well use the final set they got laying here. I'm actually surprised that the rest of the leaders chose not to come down and take that set. We've had 20 laps on the tires since they bolted them on. Of course, not all of those are green flag laps, but I fully expect Jake Nichols and Seth Noel to work their way forward through here, but top 20 stayed out on the racetrack without pitting for tires here. So, or excuse me, the top 16. So gonna be a wild finish.
So here's the deal about this, right? Yeah, I would have come and gotten tires, but at the same point, Scioli and Weishart, maybe they figured that more people would stay out, and they've put a lot of cars between themselves and Jake Nichols, Finian. I don't think that Jake Nichols can pass 16 cars in 10 laps.
This is always the fun thing about this. It's such a mind game. You have to basically play 4D chess with every other car. If you want to be really nerdy, it's basically a thing in game theory, because you have to try to predict what everyone else down the order is going to do, because when the leaders don't know what the guys in behind are going to do, the guys in behind know what the leaders are going to do. So they look and try to see, okay, how many guys are going to come on down, and they'll base their decision on that. Nichols, he basically had to make a split-second decision. Okay, am I going to hope most of the guys come down pit lane, or am I going to hope most of the guys stay out? I think he was hoping more guys are going to come on down, but yeah, unfortunately for him and Seth Noel, I think they made the wrong call. They're going to have to be way down the order. They may make it up potentially back inside the top 10, but I don't think much further than that.
Hey, Finn, just to jump on you there, though, I mean, these guys were down already into the 24.1s and 24.2s on their lap times. If we go back to qualifying where the guys were turning 23.6 on fresh tires, even if it's 20 laps difference on the tires, wouldn't you think taking the tires like Jake Nichols, Seth Noel, that they would kind of roll up through the field a lot better than are going to be half a second quicker on the start of the run?
You got a 23.6 is on a racetrack with no other cars on it. There's 16 cars in the way, so that's the challenge, right? Sure, in a vacuum you could go much faster. There's just too much traffic, I think, to make that effective.
Yeah, I think if he had like 6 or 8 cars to go through, I think it would have been possible. But 16, I think, is just a little bit too much to overcome.
Well, gentlemen, this is why I like to play the fuel strategy game here in area, and why my Cup Series wins came on fuel mileage in Season 1. I do not like tire strategy and trying to figure this out. I definitely would have made the call with Jake Nichols and Seth Noel, and it'll be interesting to see what they could do here to the end.
If anyone recalls, the 12 of Weiland was spinning and schwinning in a fantastic photo finish there at Auto Club when that was probably one of the...
by the way, Hunter.
Yeah, it was so great, and especially made it better with Jacob Bell going in the grass there at the very end as well. But
if anyone wants to catch that, Season 1 at Auto Club in the Cup Series and here in area, Hunter Sleppy on the call for that one was absolutely incredible to listen to, and definitely one for the area history books.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. And looking back in the chat, if you guys can see that the bets have been paid out for those who took the over on yellows, because we are at 9 cautions, and specifically want to go back and look at Canadian Racer 99 and Lath Hicks for immediately betting the under after I gave statistical facts that Season 2 we had 17 yellows on short tracks. I tried saying it. If that doesn't make you bet the over, I don't know what will. And then immediately 2 unders hit. The numbers don't lie, guys. The numbers don't lie.
I think they're just doing it to spite you at this stage, Hunter.
Probably.
Well, now I got their channel points, so who's the real winner now?
All right. Coming back to the green, this time will be 9 laps to go. If we go about 5 laps and have a yellow, that will trigger our green-white checkered. We will have 1. Green flag back in the air. 9 to go here from Iowa. There's that 91 to the bottom in turn 1, 3 wide.
One on the outside going to try and
behind him.
The long way around.
Cars in the
Stafford
wall.
in the wall?
No, it's the 13, a player in the fence in turn 2, but we keep rolling.
Yeah, I think really for Nichols, he basically just has to go full send here. I mean, obviously there's a big danger that he could potentially take himself out if he's too overly aggressive, but he's just trying to make up as much position as possible here.
A little further up front, Delonte Ballard, Balanchina, and there's the one on Noel all the way in the back trying to stay out of the wall. 91 of Jake Nichols, though, a man on a mission. He's about to crack the top 10 in the next straightaway or 2. Here he comes, and that's the 8 of Rafe Slate holding the 10th spot.
Down the front straightaway. Tell you what, the 91's making up a lot of ground, but I still don't think he's going to be able to get there. but time is ticking. The 7, the 33, the 66 are your leaders. JT Poole almost in the fence out of turn 2. Delonte Ballard with a dive to the inside.
Yeah, these guys are fighting extremely aggressive up here, and the big thing too is if a caution comes out now, that could really hamper the progress of the 91 as he goes flying around the outside of Senizek, now to the inside of Dominic DeLeo in the 22.
He's slicing and dicing, continuing to move forward in the field. Will he have enough time, though? There's going to be
behind him, the 12.
Left. Oh,
Jane Abbey off the racetrack and in the wall.
And that's going to bring out another caution if he backs up. He's going to have to back up and on the racetrack. Nope.
No cars.
Whoa, more crash.
Senizek.
Oh, no, the 28.
Massive crash. Beckner into the wall hard. It's the big one at Iowa.
Caution out. And that was a gnarly crash.
Wow.
Holy cow, he hit that wall a ton.
Well, we're going to have to take a look back on the Simrat market replay on both of those because that was nuts. So this is up here.
Yeah, this actually started with the 8 and the 09 heading down the front straightaway. That's where the epicenter was.
Right here, Rafe Slate.
Moves up and just clips the 09 of Senesac, and he's sideways in front of the field. There's Chris Rabel getting plowed from behind into Beckner. Nowhere to go, and this is another hard hit.
Oh, man.
Another one.
Absolutely obliterated that wall. Here it is at full speed, and this hurts.
Oh, man. You see some really, really heavy hits tonight.
Really hurts for Travis Beckner with the night he's had. He's had the fighting claw back up towards the front, and he just pitted too. So he had those fresh tires and was trying to make the most of them, and just nowhere to go.
And hey guys, wondering who also just avoided that wreck? 26.
Cogswell.
That was about as hard as I think you can crash at this track. Senesac's on board here.
Now we will see what the admins do about this one because the last time
I already have an update for you on that. It is determined that Racely will get a penalty for causing that incident.
That's number 2, so that is a drive-through, and that's going to be on a green-white checker. So this will be our one and only attempt at a green-white checker. So he's going to have to make a drive-through when they're coming through. Well, that's if they don't wreck and the caution comes out. In that case, I don't know what will happen next, but this is our only attempt at a green-white checker. So this restart will be the final restart. And if they cannot make it back to the white, then the race will end under yellow, and timing and scoring will do the rest of the work there. But if they make it back to the white, then the checkered flag will determine the winner.
We are in overtime officially now, and we will likely have about 3 extra laps on this race. Now, Jake Nichols, pretty good spot, I'd say, Finian. He's got much fresher tires that are actually make that 2 less heat cycles now. And he's going to start on the inside, only 3 rows back.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he would want to be maybe another 2-3 positions up the order to be in a really solid chance, but he's kind of in that, I don't know, maybe he might be there, maybe not. 2 laps is not a whole lot of time. Eric, what do you think?
Well, guys, I got radio. I was listening the entire time there to Solar Flare Racing. First of all, awesome spotting here from Corey Carpenter for Jake Nichols. Listen in.
Clear all around. Holy shit, you're digging.
How much back here? They're still good.
That's the line right there. Good job. You'll be on his outside.
Talking, you're on top.
Oh, there he goes.
He's on the bottom. Probably no yellow. Probably no yellow. 3.
Oh my God! Hey, Jesus.
Mike, you might can go middle here. Reckon. Caution. Oh, no caution. No yellow. No yellow. No yellow. Now yellow. Now yellow.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
That's actually good for you, Jake. I think that might help you.
So some awesome spotting there as Jake Nichols picked basically every line perfectly to move his way through the field to 7th place. Meanwhile, the other guy that took tires, Seth Noel, got nowhere. He's still mired back in 16th place. But yeah, the wild moment there with Delonte, he almost ran over the 32 of JT Poole on the exit of 4 right before the wreck happened. and that had Jake all out of sorts. They were going 3 wide, then the yellow happened behind him. So that lines him up 7th place here for this restart. Green-white checkered, the only attempt at it, guys. I'm excited to see what he can do. Do I think he can win the race? It's going to be tough. His tire is only 13 laps old compared to 35 laps for the rest of the field here. But as you mentioned, Kyle, those heat cycles on the rest of the field compared to Jake Nichols may just come into hand. It's going to be an exciting finish.
It sure will be. Hunter and Finian, real quick. Think we're going to get this done in one shot, or you think this is over under yellow?
I think we can get it going in one shot. I think we've seen a couple times where these guys have been able to make it at least 1 lap, and it's all we really need to do after that is they can have at it.
I think we wreck coming out of 2. Someone's going to go 4 wide, bounce off the outside wall and wreck, and that'll be it.
All right. I'm going to make the prediction that we also end this one under yellow. I think the restarts are so important, and turn 1 is such an opportunity for drivers to gain time. 2 laps left. This is it. This is all we got. We're 3 laps in overtime, and time to finish this one out. It's checkers or wreckers from Iowa Speedway here on Sim TV. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Finney DeCuna, Eric Wineland alongside you. Green flag back in the air. 2 laps to go. Overtime. Green-white checkered here at Iowa.
That seven moved on the outside before he crossed the finish line. I don't know if they're going to look at that or not, but that's an interesting call there.
Out of turn 2, down the backstretch, car on the wall, hard, 19, caution out, race over.
What did I say?
That was disappointing.
Wreck going out of 2.
That was disappointing because Jake Nichols got a fantastic start up into 4th off of turn 2, and I was genuinely curious to see how much further he can go.
So we are on the last lap, but interesting to note that the 7 did come up into the outside lane before they got to the start-finish line. Now, back in Season 2, Corey Carpenter did the same thing at Dover and it ended up costing him the victory on the last restart. So we'll have to see what the admins say about that. But unofficially for the moment, the 7 of Scioli is out in front. But we'll have to see if he's officially the winner.
Yeah, so unofficially, as they roll out of turn number 4, pending post-race investigations here, James Scioli is your race winner. David Weishart runs 2nd. Brandon 6 comes home in 3rd. Jake Nichols 4th. Delonte Ballard in 5th. Alan Ballacino 6th. And JT Poole, Jordan Martin, Dom DeLeo, and Jonathan Cogswell. Waiting for news on the situation here post-race, and sounds like lane changes are not illegal. Not anymore, so that means the 7 would be your winner.
There you go. See, that was significantly quicker than what the FAA can do.
Yeah, so let's go back and let's go back and take a look at the 19 and see how this incident happened. Ryan Swan here. To get another look at it. There's more to the story here.
I'm sure there probably was, and it's really just because everyone was going for it in those final few corners here.
Nope, on his own again.
Yeah, it's not been a good night for the 19.
Oh, well, Stafford got hit in the back as well and was already up in the wall.
But with that, James Scioli and teammate David Weishart, what a run by them. They bring it home and celebrate in victory lane here at Iowa.
The lane change rule was in effect last year, but I guess they got rid of it for this season.
Good thing for Scioli.
Yes, good thing for him. I mean, it would have been a win either way for David Weishart Racing, but now they get a 1-2 finish and dual burnouts.
Genuinely curious if he was aware of that rule change, or if he just was just his instinct to just go up there as soon as possible.
With that, James Scioli is your race winner. Let's have a look here at your race results from Iowa Speedway. Scioli gets it done. Weishart in 2nd, Brandon 6th, 3rd. Then Jake Nichols, Delonte Ballard 4th and 5th. So our 3rd different winner in 4 races. Kick things off with Beckner at the Area 500, then 2 races for Jake Nichols. Now Scioli finds himself in victory lane in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy he can finally get a win after finishing in behind Nichols a few times this season so far. So finally gets that win to clear himself and make himself good to the playoffs.
And mentioned that he had the highest average finish on short tracks last season without a win because Jake Nichols won all the short track races, and that was an average finish of 3rd. Bested that by 2 spots as Eric Weiland's back with another update.
Not much from me, guys. Just not the way things Ryan Swan wanted to go. He said he just got loose when he went over the bump there in turn 2, and that spun. The self-spin brought out the final caution, and he was not proud of himself on that one. And one he wished he could have back to finish the race out there. It was going to be an exciting finish. We saw Jake Nichols get clear there for 4th, and he was on his way potentially to challenge the leaders, but it didn't work out. There's the Spider again. Once again, Spider's the topic of the race tonight, guys.
Certainly.
Is the Spider the real winner of the race?
Yeah, he took out more competitors than the messiest driver out there, I'll say that. So with that, let's bring in our 3rd place finisher on the night, Brandon 6, and the number 66 comes home 3rd. Brandon, really good night for you. You're up front competing all night long. The long runs weren't kind to you, but the short runs sure were. Brandon, congratulations on a podium tonight, top 5. Take us through your night and the battles you had up front.
Yeah, it was a struggle. I had definitely the short run pace, I feel like. It's just long runs. I haven't quite figured out this car ever since the last update for this car. It hasn't been too kind to me on long runs. You have to really save the tire and just run the bottom almost at every track we go to and just baby them as much as possible. And I don't know, it's a weird thing to do because it's a fine line between racing people and not racing people.
Tonight you raced a lot of people, came home in 3rd. Talk to me about the changing conditions tonight. We saw the high side be a place of contest, especially late in the race. You had Jake Nichols kind of bearing down on you. Take me through how the lanes kind of moved around tonight. Did you feel like the high side got better as the night went on?
No, the high side was actually there the entire race. It's just like I said, the problem is if you early in the race, if you had a long run or you think you're going to have a long run, you couldn't take that chance. And that honestly, that's kind of like one of the things that's hurt me in the very first run. I was like kind of searching the second lane and then top lane. Like it kind of works, but it kills your tires way too bad. So of course at the end of the race, we're just full sending it and we're going to burn through the tires as much as possible.
Well, a great night for you regardless, Brandon. Congratulations. Top 3 in this one. We'll see you next week, or actually in 2 weeks' time when we head to the next race.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Moving on now, let's bring them both in here because they're both teammates. They both finished in the top 2. They had a really good race. Let's start with David coming home in 2nd tonight right behind your teammate. First of all, you got to be thrilled tonight with how this race panned out, but it certainly wasn't easy to take home.
No, absolutely not. Them restarts were tricky. We, back before they did the restart zone, if you had teammates, you could kind of time it out, but now you can't jump it. And when you're the top 2 there, it's hard to anticipate without getting a penalty. That happened to me at Daytona on the green-white checker, and I got a penalty for jumping. So we had to be really careful with that, but we had enough attempts at it. We finally got it down, and at first we weren't really that nervous about Jake when he pitted there with 10 to go. And we had Brad Slaughter up there watching him, and he was just getting chunks of positions at a time, and we were starting to get a little worried. But once the green-white checker came out, we had a feeling we weren't going to go green, and luckily we did, and came home 1-2.
And for you, James, tonight you had some good fights with some of the drivers up towards the front. You had your teammate behind you, and at times having your pace pushed a little bit. But take us through the night and the challenge of the pit stops and the late race cautions.
Yeah, it was a real tough race. At the beginning, we were all just kind of crawling around the track. I mean, the lap times were super slow. The rear tire was super hard to save. I was hanging off the throttle. I wasn't getting to full throttle until halfway down the straightaways, and I was still burning the rear tire. So track's just kind of a cheese grater out there, so it makes it tough to manage. And then we start getting those late cautions, and now you have to do something which you haven't done all race, and that's push as hard as you can. So just hoping that I had the pace there at the end to keep pushing and keep the clean air. It was nice to have David behind me. I knew that he was going to make life hard for the guys behind us. So it's always nice to have a teammate behind you, and it helps on the restarts a lot too. You get a good jump, and just happy to be team 1 and 2. I mean, this is a big team win. Lots of team points here, so really happy about that this early in the season.
And certainly you're going to lock yourself into the playoffs with that, and that means that you can kind of focus on just getting more race wins and don't have to worry about pointing your way in, so that's got to feel nice as well.
Yeah, always good when you can just go to the track and just try and drive as hard as you can and just go for win after win. Don't have to worry about points racing or strategy at the end to save points. You can kind of just go for wins, and I think that's what was kind of nice about the position Jake was in. He already has a couple wins, so he figured he'd just take tires and see what he could do. So definitely glad to be in that position now.
Hey, James, and for David, congratulations. A really strong run tonight. 145 laps led of the overtime 173 that we ran, James. So congratulations on that. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and a big thanks to all you guys in the booth and everything you do, and Eric for the popping in race, always having a good laugh with him, so that's always been fun. And then big thanks to Butt Kicker, Chris Sports Cards, Standles Candles, Matco Tools, all for being on the car.
All right, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at the next one. Week off. Enjoy it next week.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Right, finishing things up here tonight. Eric Wineland, final thoughts on tonight's race. Very competitive, very fun to watch, and a little bit spicy there throughout the night as well.
I think spooky would be the word that I would use to start off the bat, with the first two cautions being caused by spiders. Man, these guys are glad they have Halloween off next week. But no surprise at our winner. James has been gaining momentum race after race that he completes on the ovals. He came into area with not such a great showing at ovals, and he was stupid fast on road courses, and it's kind of flip-flopped. I mean, he's still fast on road courses, but he has someone like Jake Nichols to compete with now, both on the road and the oval. And no surprise, David Weishart was able to find his way out front there late as well. But man, I was hoping for that comeback from either Jake Nichols or Seth Noel. Jake almost pulled it off, just couldn't quite get the green flag run to the end. 2 weeks time, Gateway, another track just like Iowa. It doesn't quite chew tires, but an exciting one to watch.
Hunter, final thoughts on tonight's race here from Iowa.
Well, Iowa certainly doesn't disappoint. I wish NASCAR would come back here in real life. At least we got IndyCar, but I mean, you saw it. The bottom lane seemed to be the lane to go. Then it slowly migrated up towards the middle, and then the outside, and then the Larson line. There's 4 different lines there. The Larson line is its own line, but had great racing going on. And yeah, I just wish that NASCAR would come back here in real life. But other than that, what a solid performance tonight from these Area Cup Series drivers.
And Finney, we head to Gateway in 2 weeks' time. That's a fun racetrack. Opposite ends. Very, very different story than what we had this week. Then we head to Atlanta, Darlington, and Bristol. So 4 very unique challenges upcoming on the schedule.
Yeah, that's kind of a good thing that that NASCAR, even though they stopped coming to Iowa, at least they went to Gateway, which is another track that really definitely deserves a cup date, and has been putting on some really solid racing. We've always seen some really good stock car action and IndyCar action from Gateway, so I expect nothing less from this series. And I also want to give a message to the folks at home: definitely check for any spiders that may be hiding in your room. They could be also interfering in your race and cause you to spin out and crash.
All right, we'll check for spiders and mark off the calendar for next Monday. We're off. Tomorrow night, though, we go trucks racing from right here at Iowa. Then Thursday, the Lodgebox Series heads to Iowa. That's 10/27. Following week, next week, that will be all week off for us here at Area. Back on November 7th, 8th, and 10th for our next group of races at Atlanta, and at IRP. So that's what's happening the next couple of weeks. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Finney DeCuna, Hunter Slepley, and Eric Wineland. We'll see you next time here on the Area Channel. Tomorrow night, trucks racing from Iowa.